Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to DTM eSports Pro Championship 2024 Shootout number 1. Boy, have I longed to be back on this channel. Hopefully I find you all well. My name is Luke Crane. I'll be one of the commentators for this event, and I am joined by one of my favorite personnel within the sim racing world. It is Connery Maddock. How you doing, mate? You all good?
Yeah, absolutely. Back here, back in the commentary booth for more DTM eSports action. It feels like it's been a while since we commentated on this sort of series, but I've kind of missed it.
Oh, absolutely. We've got ourselves a potential of 64 drivers per shootout weekend, which are all week. And that is indeed Shootout 1 today, and then we've got Shootout 2 in a couple of weeks' time. We've got a couple of heat races and then a last chance qualifier race. So we'll find 16 drivers today and 16 drivers in 2 weeks' time that will make up our 32 driver grid. Super, super exciting. We had this last time out, Connor. It's been just over a year, I think, since we last did the DTM eSports. Boy, have we got a hell of an entry list for you today?
Yeah, absolutely. It's looking absolutely crazy, especially for this first shootout as well. It's the cream of the crop in terms of the RaceRoom esports, and you could say sim racing esports in general. We have some big names here today, which we'll get into in just a couple of moments, but we got a few things to go over before we get to that point.
Yeah, 100%. First of all, I have got some codes I'm going to be giving away today. So I've got 10 codes for the DTM 2023 RaceRoom car pack. So I'm going to be giving them away on my channel, which is Actrovision on Twitch, and also DTM on YouTube. So those are the two channels I'm going to be giving them away today. It's going to be happening randomly across the course of the broadcast. I'm literally going to post the code in there, and then you guys can do what you need to do with them. I will explain how to do it before we post the first codes as well. But right, let's get into the championship then. It's all about the calendar. Let's have a look what we have got in store for you over the next 8 events. So we have Shootout 1. That's today. We're at Oschersleben today, which is a very interesting race circuit. It actually was indeed in the DTM calendar last year now, actually. So we're in 2024 now. We've got to remember we have indeed changed years. But yeah, in 2023, where Tim Heineman from Sim to DTM, remember, of course, came from the DTM eSports Championship many, many moons ago, was leading the championship after the first 2 races. Got himself a couple of podiums. Great times for him. Then we head to Shootout 2, which is at Zandvoort in 2 weeks' time on the 2nd of February. Then we head to round 1. So this is the official championship where our 32 drivers will indeed kick things off. They head to the Norisring. Then the second round will be at the Nürburgring on the 15th of the 3rd. And well, there's plenty more rings to go around because we've got the Lausitzring on the 22nd of the 3rd. Then we've got Sachsenring on the 5th of the 4th. And then we've got Red Bull Ring on the 12th of the 4th. And then in April on the 19th, we have indeed the Hockenheimring with the final round for the championship. Let's check out then the schedule for today. Then this is just all about today. We don't have to be worried about any of the other rounds. Like I said, we have got 62 drivers, I believe, today taking part, and we will have indeed 3 races. So there'll be Heat 1, where where half the grid, will be involved, and the top 6 from that race will advance through to the major championship. And then we have a second heat where, again, the top 6 will advance through to the main championship. P7 down to P22 of each heat will then go through to a last chance qualifier race, and then that will be a just Wild West ridiculous server of everybody else, and the top 4 advance through. So you just do not want to be in that last chance qualifier race. But let's check out the format then today. As you can see, we've got quali and the race starting in about 10 minutes time for qualification. Race starting at about 7:45 in the Europe. Then we've got quali and race number 2 for heat number 2. And then, of course, we've got heat 3, which is the last chance qualifier. And then the stream will end. You'll know when it's ending because I would have stopped talking. Right, let's check out the entry list for the entirety of Shootout 1 first and foremost. Connery, let's bring you involved here. Of course, we've been doing this for the last few years together. It is the who's who, right, isn't it, for RaceRoom? An incredible list of drivers.
Yeah, you don't run out of names that are very, very familiar with esports here on the RaceRoom side of things, and of course a lot of them have gone on into other sims as well and have done incredibly well. Of course, the main sort of star that I'm looking at the moment is, of course, Moritz Lerner. He brings that real-world experience into it, of course, but obviously he started on the sim. He started in the DTM eSports series when he ran it in the first year as well. He got that DTM trophy drive, which he completely made the most of. He's pretty competitive in that series, but he's coming back to the eSports series, and we would absolutely love to see what he's capable of here. But like you said, Luke, it's the who's who in terms of RaceRoom eSports. We got Lucas Müller, we got Isaac Price, we got Jack Heathley in there as well, one of the big stars of sim racing. We got Emre Cihan, who has gone from strength to strength over the last couple of years. You know, Pajic, Romanides, Dravosikov. You know, I could just rattle off all of these names, and you've probably seen them on a top-level RaceRoom broadcast before.
Yeah, well, I've just seen in the YouTube chat, HSV, which I'm assuming is a hamburger fan, is a Dravosikov fan as well. So good to see that. But yeah, it's an incredible list of drivers there. Moritz Lohner has famously gone over to Rennsport, same as Isaac Price over the last sort of 12 months. Jack Heathley got involved as well, Lucas Müller, Marco Pajic. So they've all been across and competed at the very high level on a different sim. They are just, some of the very best drivers in terms of being able to compete on different platforms. Let's check out then the entry list for race number 1. So how it works is P1 in the time trial, and then P4 and 5, then P8 and 9 will go to heat 1, and then all in between will be heat 2. So in this heat, we've got Moritz Lohner, Jack Heathley, Emre Cihan. We've got I'm going to always struggle with this name, aren't I? Dravosikov. We've got Bence Banky. We've got Philip Dreys, Ulas Ozildirim, Tim Yarshall. Those two also coming over from the RaceRoom Championship. Julian Kuntz. We have got Matthias Baldauf, Christian Mitchell. We've got Max Janssen, Michael Neg. We've got Gregory Ramos, Florian Hasser. I'll let you take over, Connery, because there's just so many names.
Yeah, absolutely, and some important ones that you missed out as well, which we tend to see in the RaceRoom side of things. Ilhan Yovsky, a big one there as well. Pringa I've seen as well. It's great. You got Daniel Burke and Adam Pinches further down as well. Krevi I've seen before. So this is going to be a crazy competitive field, and this is just our first heat. Of course, we have the second heat to be concerned about as well, with another group of drivers, and then of course we'll take the top from each and get ourselves our third heat to try and decide who goes through to the next stage of competition. But yeah, I'm incredibly optimistic about how this race is going to go, because I would hazard a guess. I haven't seen the qualifying times. We're not in qualifying at the moment, but I imagine that these drivers will be incredibly close to each other when it comes to the flying laps.
Yeah, 100%. And also, you can't really read too much into the order we see here, because some of the drivers may have put 3 or 4 laps in to qualify at this stage, and other drivers may have put 100 laps in. So, yeah, anybody at this point can, get themselves right at the sharp end of the races. Let's check out Heat 2 then, at the list we have there. First of all, I'm going to explain about the giveaway. So I'm going to give away the first 2 codes now. But how you redeem these codes, ladies and gentlemen, you need to start RaceRoom, access your profile through driver profile. Then you need, in the top right-hand corner, locate your in-game wallet icon, click it, select the option to redeem a code, copy and paste the code, then confirm. It will add the content to the account. So I'm going to throw them in there into the DTM YouTube chat, and I'm also going to throw one into my chat as well, while Connery talks you through the plethora of talent from heat number 2.
Yeah, absolutely, and well, it's just basically alternating from our master list, shall we say, of everyone taking part here today. Because Moritz Lohner was the top of that, then it was Lucas Müller. So Lohner gets put in Heat 1, Müller gets put in Heat 2, but. Yeah, the class of this field is still there. We got Isaac Price, Marco Pajic, Romanides in there, Ottaviani, Kripner, Fiducci, Chinchik is in there as well, who's gotten fantastic accolades in his sim racing career so far already. Mark Vietz, we've got Vitvots involved as well, Rosen as well, getting himself involved in the top level of RaceRoom here, and so many other names. So I can't really pick between the two about what is the better heat here at the moment. I think we've been very much treated to some fantastic talent out there, very much deserving of the series, very much deserving of a chance at competing in that main series after we get both of these heats in this shootout and, of course, the second shootout done as well.
Yeah, 100%. And I will like to add there that we always have a surprise. There's always 1 or 2 drivers. Of course, we've got so many names that we know. in this championship, but there's always those one or two drivers that just come out of absolutely nowhere and produce some marvelous stuff for us to watch. So keep an eye out for some new names that are getting themselves involved. Let's have a little look at the entry list beyond Booksy there. We've got Boldy and Gillison. They have both just recently managed to get a tied championship in the Ferrari eSports series. So they are, fresh off the back of competing at the highest level and gaining themselves a new team to drive for as well. So they'll be wanting to prove themselves. Jonathan Riley, who is also a Ferrari eSports driver, is involved here as well. We've got Sunel, we've got Hakkinen. I remember that name. That's one of the first names that I ever fell in love with in the world of motorsport. We've got the Mackenbergs, Marvin and Sven Mackenberg racing today, and they're both in the same heat, which is very interesting to see. We've got Lorenz, Sari, Geisler, Tiefenbacher, Gontier, Sen. We've got Vliestra, Greshel, Titz, and we have indeed got Sranko. Those are all new names to me there as well. P30, what a name. That's going to be fun to say today, Connery, isn't it?
Yep, absolutely. It's well, it wouldn't be a sim racing broadcast if we didn't have entertaining names. Our anglophones need to try and pronounce. Of course, both of us being British, we tend to have a reputation of butchering pronunciations. We do, however, try our level best to get it right. But I imagine some drivers might be correcting us after this particular broadcast. But yeah, it's great to see everyone, or at least see the names. We'll get to see cars here. As we'll have a little look at what's going on out there in the practice session here at the moment. They've got just under 4 minutes left to go before they head their way into that oh-so-crucial qualifying.
Yeah, we've got Jack Keithley, who we're on board with right now, I believe. Is that Jack Keithley? Maybe it isn't. Not sure it is, actually. I guess we'll figure out. Yeah, okay, we'll figure that out in a second. Hopefully it'll pop up at the bottom of your screen. But Jack Keithley is currently the fastest out of everybody here in this session. There we go, Kalaksai, who's in Jack Aitken's car, I believe, from DTM last year. So yeah, Jack Keithley, 1.5 tenths of a second clear of, I believe, Ethan Yuyovsky. Yes, I call him Ethan, it's Erhan. There's a story behind it. But yes, Erhan is currently in second spot. And then we've got Kunzer in third position. But yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, you can't necessarily read too much into practice times. Yes, it can give you the overall trend, but the order might look a little different as we head in towards the actual real qualifying session in just a handful of minutes' time. But if Keithley carries on this form over into qualifying, then he's definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with. And that is when Jack Keithley's on form. He is one of the scariest drivers out there.
He certainly is. He's also got Action Man curtains and wrestling wallpaper in his bedroom. So, you don't want to be messing with him, that is for certain. Keithley, over the line he will go. He's about to start another flying lap, and actually it might be a good idea here to take you on a lap here of Oschersleben while we're in the practice session. Through turn number 1, we will indeed go then. That is called we're into Hotel Corner here, which is a massive sort of 270-degree corner, heading then up towards turn number 3, which is Hasserode. You're grabbing some nice curve on entry. It's a diamond apex there as well, so you just move out ever so slightly and then indeed put your power down, drive it back towards the apex. Now we're heading down towards turn number 4 in towards triple. Why is it called triple? Well, there's a triple left-hander you've got to get involved with here. It is a very unique circuit. I will tell you that for one. Something that a circuit I've got quite a few laps on in terms of sim racing over the years. And yeah, it's always more of a motorbike circuit, to be honest, I would say. But DTM has been here many times before, and it's of course back on the calendar from last season. We just went through then the chicane, which was 8, 9, and 10. Now we're along the Stadio Gerard. We head then into the Shell S's. Again, curb usage absolutely vital around here. You can run out onto the AstroTurf on the exit there of turn number 12 up towards 13. It's all about getting the car settled in a straight line, opening up the final corner, which is Schachen-Anhalt curve. Using again the AstroTurf on the exit to maximise your speed. We head then down across the line. It is a lot faster. It is a little bit faster actually. Yuyovsky's 2 tenths further back, but it's Emre Cihan who's just gone faster, who was just up the road. He's done a 22.430.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, definitely making a statement here. The very back end of this practice session, just 40 seconds left to go, and Xi'an getting himself up there. So the young Turkish driver really showing what he's made of. And I remember commentating on him, you know, a good couple of years back in high-level RaceRoom competition, and I thought he's going to be one to look out for when it comes to the next couple of years in competitive sim racing, because he was absolutely on the pace from the get-go, from the support series in the ADAC Masters series that I had the chance to commentate here on RaceRoom, and it seems like since then he's just gone from strength to strength, leading this practice session now as time expires.
Yeah, absolutely. We're on board then with Gregory Ramos, who's in P10. Yeah, Emre Cihan is a RaceRoom specialist, I would say. He's one of the drivers that every single time you see an esports event on RaceRoom, he always just tends to be at the top end of the leaderboards, always seems to make the finals, very similarly to Jack Keithley, who is also in P2 right now. Gregory Ramos, though, 10th position, 1.1 second off the pace. This is not going to be faster, unfortunately, but he is ahead of a trio of Ferraris. Right, okay, roll call then, ladies and gentlemen. Practice is over. We're about to head into the qualification session. Where are we watching from around the world? Looks like Tez73. Congratulations, you got yourself the code for DTM 2023 on RaceRoom. I'm going to be giving away 8 more codes, 4 more on the DTM YouTube channel and 4 more over at Actrovision on Twitch. So yeah, get yourself involved on both channels. You might be able to win yourself a code. Who won the code on YouTube? Did anyone manage to snag it? It's just above there. It's like 5 comments above. If you want to get yourself it, you can indeed go and copy and paste it into RaceRoom. Right, qualifying, Connery. What are you expecting from this session?
Very close times. Very close times indeed. I wouldn't be surprised if we have probably the top 15, top 20 covered by half a second at this point. It is going to be absolutely down to the wire. With 1/10 of a second might lose you a couple of spots. That's what I'm thinking with regards to how close this is going to be. Emre Cihan across the line to start his flying lap. Then, of course, everyone is kind of in that situation at the moment. You might be thinking, oh, why are we only seeing one driver out there then? Well, that's because they're doing lone qualifying. So each driver gets their own track to race on. So they're not going to get impeded, but they're also not going to get slipstream from anyone else. So it's just them versus the track here in this one. And it's just a different way of qualifying that we can do here in sim racing, which they would struggle to do in the real world unless they go 1x1 qualifying, which some series do. But we can do the 1x1 qualifying, but all at the same time.
Oh, I tell you, DTM qualifying is something to behold. That final corner before they do their first flying lap, doesn't matter what circuit they're on, it is like an absolute car park. So this is a bit of a godsend here that they're able to qualify on their own, not have to worry about anybody else. My last qualifying session, I was like this on a lone qualifying, but it just turns out I got no mates. It was available for everybody to join in, but yeah, it is what it is. We got the championship winning car from 2022. This is Sheldon van der Linde's motor, but driving it today, it's Philip Drees. And right now, he's purple through Sector 1 and Sector 2. So this is a very handy time indeed.
Yep, indeed. And we saw Emre Cihan actually abandon his lap and take the tow, so that lap won't count. But for Philip Drees, as he heads his way across the line, is it going to be the first time lap that we'll get to see? It'll be one of them, that's for sure. Moritz Lohner going to provisional pole position here as the first flying laps come through. Jack Keithley in second place. Drees was only able to get himself up into 9th place, but it's a decent banker lap. Okay, you don't want to necessarily go at 110% immediately. You want to get a decent lap time in, so at least you have one, and you don't start at the very back of the field.
Look at that for a top 6 though right now. Moritz Lohner, Jack Keithley, Ulas Azildarim, we've got Bence Banki, Tim Yarshall, and Ethan Yayovsky. Like, that is just an unbelievable top 6. We're on board then with Moritz, who has had a very big rivalry with Tim Heineman over the course of RaceRoom and esports in general, plus on the track in real life as well. They raced together for 2 seasons in the DTM trophy, and he's actually now running in Tim's car. I saw this car in real life for the first time actually last year at the Sim Racing Expo. It is maybe one of my favorite cars of all time. It is very, very unique. I love the fact that it's got from Sim to DTM all up the side, just obnoxiously so. Beautiful.
Yeah, but Lohner, bit of a scrappy lap. So he had to take the tow back to the start point, not the pit lane, I suppose, the start point here in qualifying. It's just so that they don't have to do a full out lap to be able to get themselves onto a flyer. Then it just makes things go by a little bit quicker, and it's a little bit easier for the drivers as well. They'll be able to fit more flying laps in into this 10-minute session that way. So we're going to have a change of provisional pole position sitter, though. That's Emre Cihan. Just like in the practice session, he goes towards the top, 76 thousandths of a second ahead of Moritz Lohner's best time.
Yeah, Florian Hasser goes up to P5 as well. So those are the biggest, more notable changes on the grid as it stands. Julian Kunzer is now up to P11. Remember, top 6 after the race are going to go through instantly through to the next stages of this competition. And if you are in P7 down to P22, you will go through to the last chance qualifier, or as it's been called here, heat number 3. We've got EH Sim Racing from Toronto, Canada. Welcome. Hopefully you're well. Again, if you are watching right now, get yourselves involved in the chat and let me know where you're watching from around the world, and I'll try and give you a shout out. Also, if you have any questions, this is the perfect time to ask, because we have a lovely little onboard then with Ulas Oschersleben, running then through turn number 3. Now we're heading down towards triple. Connery, and I'll let you take it away.
Absolutely, and you know, these apexes come up and you very, very quickly coming through triple there. It's sometimes quite tricky to get the exact right line through that particular section without losing a ton of lap time, shall we say, and he's going to attack these curves all the way through the chicane there, which is simply what you have to do here on the qualifying lap, and then he's going to head down the straight here, eyeing up the next braking zone. He's going to be able to give himself a little bit of a rest, but he actually takes the toe back to the starting point, so he's not going to fully finish that one.
Yeah, Zildrim definitely watching the stream there going, I don't want Connery to talk over my laps. And he just restarts. Thanks, mate. Cheers there, mate. We really appreciate that. You know, we're only trying to put on a show here, Ulas. Unbelievable.
Well, we can't judge. I don't think we can judge. But Zildrim, I mean, these drivers have plenty of time to get their laps in. They're not lap limited, as they might be in some other series, because if you do lone qualifying, again, in some series, they might say, oh, you can only do 2 flying laps. You can only do 3 or 4 flying laps. But they have the entire 10 minutes to do as many flying laps as they want. And they take the toe, they get fresh tires, they get a fresh car, and not have to do much of an outlap. So they're going to get loads of attempts on this.
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, you want to see the best times posted. And Moritz Lohner has just gone fastest. So he has managed to get the fastest time. Then Emre Cihan now 200ths of a second further back. Cyberpunk supporting Ilya as well. I'm going to try and say Ilya's name across the broadcast, but it's hard to say really fast, so I've got to say it slowly. Drov Ozakov. That's how I'm going to say it now. And Drov Ozakov takes the lead.
Yeah, you have to be very careful with that one. Very careful indeed. Yeah. But yeah, like you mentioned, Moritz Lohner back towards the top of the order. I get the feeling Cihan and Lohner would be trading this pole position potentially for the next 3.5 minutes here, given that they are so close. Just 21 thousandths of a second between the two of them, and we've got the top 13 covered by half a second. So it might not be as close as, you know, I conjectured, but it is starting to get there.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing, Moritz Lohner has got a massive advantage over the course of this qualifying session, because he has just spent a whole year where it is 1 lap shootout qualifying every single time, where the difference between a 100th of a second can be, you know, sort of 4 or 5 positions. So he has got an advantage here where he can do more and more laps, so I expect him to be very quick in terms of the qualifying. In the race, I think he might be gettable. I think Emre Cihan, Jack Heathley, you know, Oschersleben, they may have more of a chance in the race. But yeah, Moritz Lohner is going to be very difficult to beat here. I think Tim Yasha's got a bit of experience with how it was done on Rennsport as well, very similarly to Oschersleben, Jack Heathley as well. But Moritz Lohner will be doing it for the whole year, so he's got a massive advantage.
Yeah, he is. So, the pressure. The thing is, I think you might see this as a luxury. He's not having to do that one and done lap like he does in that series. It's just like, well, we can just sort of chill and you know, just get as many laps under my belt as I want. As we see Bence Banki head his way out the final corner. This is looking like an out lap here, so he's going to start a flying lap as he heads his way across the line there. So the Slovakian currently up into 6th place. Not a bad starting position for that Porsche. It's you definitely want to be in the thick of things, in and amongst that top 6, considering well, that's kind of the region you want to be to get yourself through to the next stage. Yeah, well, it's not kind of, is it? You have to be in there. Yeah. Simple as that. I don't think you want to put yourself in a position to be in that last chance qualifier. That is almost impossible to get out of there in terms of odds. So yeah, get yourself in that top 6. I think if you offered every single one of these drivers P6 right now, they're all taking it, because the difference between P1 and P6
there's nothing. It's just all about getting yourself safe passage through to the next stages of the competition. So 1 minute 30 seconds to go. Last chances then for people to improve on their time. Ben Mackey, by the way, was actually purple through sector number 1. Emre Cihan, he is on for 1 more lap time as well. But yeah, let me know who you're supporting in the chat. Yeah, Drovozikov has got so many fans, by the way. Everybody's supporting him by the look of things. But is anyone else out there supporting anybody else?
Well, we have to put the man on screen, don't we? If he's got so many supporters out there in the stream chats, then we kind of obligated to show him on the stream at some point. But there he is, the Super Swiss, I suppose, the fan favourite at this stage. Currently P14, so solid through mid-pack, so not bad qualifying at all for Drovozikov, as he wheels that Porsche around this Oschersleben circuit. One thing we do have to pay attention to when it comes to the race is not only the top 6, but who finishes 22nd, okay? Because that is the cut-off for getting yourself that last chance qualifier.
Yeah, 100%. It is, you know, between 7th and 22nd. They will advance to heat number 3 today, which again is what we're going to call the last chance qualifier. So if you manage to find yourself into that situation, you might be in a little bit of trouble. So Moritz Lohner is indeed P1. Emre Can is going to take P2. Jack Keithley is going to take P3. Connery, take us through the rest of them. I'm actually now going to gift a couple of codes into the chat. So if you're on DTM eSports chat, make sure you have RaceRoom open because you've got ready to copy and paste.
Absolutely. We get Tim Yarshall in 4th place, Ozilderim in 5th, with Banki in 6th. Then you got Yovsky, Hasse, Andronovsky. We got Baladov and Kalasai rounding out the top 11. You've got Dreis Kunze, Drovozikov, Neg. Then you've got Michael there in P16. And then you're seeing the rest of the names cycle through towards the bottom there. Daniel Berker actually down in P26. I would have expected him to just be a little bit higher than that. And Sebastian Ree is going to bring up the rear in terms of our grid for heat number 1 of this DTM eSports series. This is, we're just getting closer and closer to the drop of the green flag here to start our season. Well, I guess start our pre-season. We're not in the actual season just yet. This is more of a qualification procedure. But drivers will get themselves just the moment to get themselves all warmed up and to get their sights set on this standing start that it will be here in these GP3 machines, which is always a tricky predicament.
Yeah, 100%. This is the first race out of, you know, many races across this season. We want to start off strong, especially someone like Moritz Lohner, who does take pole position to try and get that race victory under your belt and just have safe passage through to the main championship. Then you have to worry about doing the heat number 3 or indeed shootout number 2. So the code that I've just posted, guys, on the DTM YouTube channel, you need to start your RaceRoom game. Go to your driver profile button on the main menu. In the top right-hand corner, locate your in-game wallet icon, click it, select the option to redeem the code, copy and paste, and then confirm. It is as simple as that. That will add the DTM 2023 content. Again, thank you to RaceRoom for providing us with some codes. They're lovely, lovely people at RaceRoom. Right, Connery, you know what time it is. It's time for Connery's predictions.
Well, it's going to be a straight-up duel. If we do get a fight for the race win, I don't think we will, because I think it's too risky for those guys to drop outside the top 6 in the case of an incident between the two of them. But if we are, it's going to be a straight-up duel between Emre Cihan and Moritz Lohner, that's for sure. It's a coin toss between the two of them for me at the moment.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I don't think people are going to be taking too many chances. I think what's going to be the most interesting battle is going to be, you know, sort of 10th up towards top 6, trying to hustle their way, because they will be taking chances. They absolutely have to take chances. It really is as simple as that. Get your predictions in the chat wherever you're watching from right now. Let me know where you're watching from, and also predict who you think is going to do well. Make sure you subscribe to the DTM channel. Make sure that you follow on the RaceRoom Twitch channel, and you do follow my channel. We've got 5 red lights on your screen. It's time for Shootout 1 for the DTM eSports Pro Championship 2024. Top 6 advance through to the main championship, and we are green light racing. And unfortunately, we've got Koloksai who's got a drive-through penalty for a false start at the back there. But look at us all thundering down towards turn number 1. Moritz Lohner with the start of green, by the way. See a BMW there that was driven by Sheldon Van Linder last season. Unfortunately, finding his way nearly off the track. I think they're all good though. We head then through turn number 2 up towards turn number 3. Moritz Lohner has got an absolute flyer.
Yeah, he absolutely has. He's done a fantastic job to get himself up into that advanced position a little bit further up, well, get himself a decent gap. Emre Cihan, of course, didn't necessarily get himself the best of starts there, as he's falling himself a little bit back through the field. He's down into P4 at the moment, so he's going to be second place. Well, 2 spots lost compared to where he started. You can see that on the left-hand side of your screen. We have 2 drivers that have had issues already, both Daniel Berger and Vlad Tatara down through the field and kind of, well, have had a bit of a mare of a start.
Yeah, that is not ideal. Luckily, there is a heat number 3 today. There's also a shootout number 2 in a couple of weeks' time. We get a lovely pan shot. DTM very well known for its camera shots. The massive pleasure to commentate with DTM, and their production is second to absolutely none. It is ridiculous. We'll get to see it on the virtual world this time round. Very much in the capable hand of Connery Maddock. Down towards turn number 1 we will go this time. A little compliment there for you, Connery, eh? Got to throw it out there.
Yeah, you absolutely do. I mean, I need my ego stripped sometimes, let's just say that. But as they head their way through the first sector, it's been a relatively calm affair at the very front of the field, all things considered. Not all that many moves being made. Everyone just content to run in their own little bit of real estate here, and it's all. I feel like it's a bit too calm. I was expecting a little bit more boisterous action, but it seems like everyone has their calm heads on. They know what's on the line here in these shootouts, and they're taking a very respectable approach to the race.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. It makes sense. Of course, these are seasoned veterans. They know what they're doing, and it's all about just getting safe passage through to the next stages of the competition. That's indeed where you're going to earn your crust. Lawrence Stoner still leads, 5/10 of a second, the gap between him and Jack Keithley. Keithley's moved up 2 positions so far. Yasha and Cihan both dropping down 1 each as well. But then we've got Benson Banky and Ethan Yayovsky, who have both moved up into the top 6. Although Banky was already in there, as we, whoa, big off there. Ulaz Zildra, who dropped out of the top 6 from the start of this. Maybe he's suffering with a little bit of nerves here. He struggled on the first lap. The second lap there, as we can see, a little trip out to the kitty litter, not ideal.
Yeah, absolutely, and so thankfully it's not under too much threat. We can have a look behind him there. There's Florian Hasse, the German, in 8th place. Not really applying the pressure here at the moment. They do have to be slightly nice with each other at this stage, but yeah, it's been a relatively calm affair. Of course, we had the Osildrim have that little bit of an issue. It was a little bit too hard and made that single car error, but in the end, there's no positions lost. Maybe a little bit of time lost up to Hanyayovsky, and that was just about all that happened.
Yeah, tyre wear will be a factor as well within this. It's a 20-minute race. It's not a long time. The tyre wear will be a factor. So later on in the race, if you haven't managed it, you could find yourself in a little bit of trouble. Chucking yourself in the gravel isn't going to help that fact either. So, yeah, Osildrim not under a severe amount of pressure, but ideally, you don't really want to give Florian Hasse any kind of carrot to be chasing after. It is as simple as that, because he is, again, one of the very best in terms of RaceRoom eSports. Still Morris Lona leads, half a second, 6/10 further back then from Jack Keithley, who is in second, is Tim Yash. You can see there next to their name the +1 or the minus. That's how many positions they've indeed gained. We're on board then with Julian Kunze, who is, well, battling to hold on to a P12. You expect to be moving up the order, and unfortunately it's not quite worked out like that, and actually it's under a bit more pressure from P13, more so moving up towards P11.
Yeah, it definitely seems to be the case. Trying to make some forward progress in this race. Of course, everyone in this mid-pack wants to try and keep on to the back of that P6, because they know P6 is when they advance to the next stage. And if they're not able to, well, you know, they're going to have to try and fight it out through the last chance qualifier that we'll have in a couple of races' time. But that is a lot of pressure, especially if you're someone like Osildrim at the moment, who has got a lot of airtime already. He's sitting in that 7th place, just outside of that top 6 bubble, and you know that must be, you know, one of the most frustrating things as a driver. You can see the driver that you need to pass ahead of you to try and get yourself qualified, but it's not quite happening just yet.
No, 100%. It's a case of hold yourself in that position. Top 7's not the worst situation to be in right now. You've still got 15 minutes to kind of make something work. You're only 4/10 of a second behind Yayovsky. And realistically, you've got to be hoping for a mistake. Such a difficult place to overtake around here. You do try and make a move. Unfortunately, you're going to lose a lot of time. So right now, taking stock, just making sure you're in a position that later on this race you can take advantage if it presents itself.
riding on board with Julian Kunze here, looking back at Christian Michael. 0.2 of a second between the two of them as they exit the final corner now. Across the grid spots, there you go. You can see Michael just angling, looking into the inside, but it doesn't seem like, at least in that instance, he got good drive out of the final corner. It seemed like the Ferrari was just able to stretch its legs and gap him on the way down in towards turn number 1. It's going to be interesting to see how that affects things. Of course, we do have multiple different manufacturers represented in this one, and well, it's the top 5 that are all Porsches at the moment.
Yeah, couldn't agree more there. Kunze done a really good job there through turn number 1. Just got on the brakes a little bit earlier, just making sure he can get to the apex of turn 2 and not leave that door open, because if you leave the door open, that BMW will absolutely send it through there. Once you're offline through turn number 2, which again is a 270-degree right-hander, as soon as you let a car on the inside through there, you are in severe problems. That is for certain. Thierry Vermeulen's number 69 car there under that kind of pressure. So Kunze maybe looking to defend as we come down towards the Shell S's. Actually, not having to worry too much there, but it does look like Kunze is struggling with something. Sliding that Ferrari around, not ideal.
Yeah, and it's not going to help the tyres in that situation. That's just let's just say that it's you're just putting unnecessary heat into it, unnecessary friction. You know, it's I know it's a 20-minute race, but at the same time, you can't be taking too much performance out of the tyres unnecessarily, because you might need that little extra edge towards the very end of the race to be able to go chasing for positions. For those of you more used to RaceRoom, you can set certain levels of tyre wear, accelerated tyre wear. You can do it twice as fast, 4 times as fast, depending on what you need for your particular league. These guys are just running with the normal tyre wear here at the moment, so 20 minutes should be no struggle for them, but again, if you're pushing really hard in the early stages of this race, you might lose just that slight edge at the end of 20 minutes.
Oh, 100%. If you're defending, if you're going offline, you're going to be in trouble near the end. I think overheating is going to be a bigger issue, but for sure, you need to look after them. They are the most important thing, really, to be honest, the tyres. If you don't have any tyres to work with, you're in a little bit of trouble. It seems like we're starting a little bit of a train here. The gap a little bit further up the road. It's kind of all good. All good there. So the Swiss driver currently, we've got the Austrian, right? No, who's it? Who's in P10 right now, actually? So P10 is pushed away a little bit in that BMW. There's a bit of a gap now to work with behind. So it's about 2 seconds now, the difference between the top 10 and indeed the rest of the pack. And I'm starting to feel like Drays has to start maybe moving forward, try and move up towards that top 6, because the race may slip away.
Yeah, I mean, if he wants a chance of getting himself qualified automatically and not have to do, he'll have a chance to qualifier. But you'd rather get it done early, right? You don't want to be sort of having to do all these different races just to get yourself in. You want to get in first time of asking and then not stress about having to race more races. That would be my preference anyway, and I guess it would be everyone's preference in this race. As a result, we've not been seeing much of any fighting actually inside of the top 6. Of course, Moritz Lohner has led this thing since the drop of the green flag. Of course, getting himself up into second place, Timmy Archer up into a podium spot due to the issues that Sheehan had at the start. Sheehan has been in no rush to be able to recover those positions because, well, frankly, he doesn't need to.
No, 100%. Couldn't agree more there. In terms of the top 6, there's only a 0.4 of a second gap between Yayovsky and Oschersleben. So right now that will be a fight that will come into fruition, I'm pretty sure of that. And then the next important position is P22, because remember, top 6 will qualify through to the main championship, but we will have a last chance qualifying race between 6th to 22nd in both of our heats 1 and 2. So the gap right now is about a second actually. So Stramer is looking like the last qualifier as it stands to get through. I'm also going to be doing a giveaway after this race. We're going to give away 2 more codes. I'm going to give it away 1 on the RaceRoom YouTube channel and 1 on the DTM YouTube channel. So make sure that you do indeed keep your eyes on the chat. I'm just going to copy and paste them. Make sure you've got RaceRoom open. If you haven't already got the DTM 2023 car pack, you could be the lucky recipient of it. Connery, we're over the halfway point in this race. Moritz Lohner is very much keeping Jack Keithley at arm's length, but the top sort of 5 here look pretty safe.
Yeah, they are. They're just going to run these laps until the end now. There's no need to push too hard and make a mistake in things. You just back off, maybe go at like 95%, 90%. You don't want to back off all the way to 70 or something like that, because then your complacency starts to set in and then you make mistakes because you're not running your usual lines as quickly. But yeah, these guys are super, super duper comfortable at the moment. No problems whatsoever. Maybe, Ben Spunky, he might not be as relaxed about this situation because he does have this train of cars behind him that includes that 6th place a driver of Johan Jojovski at the moment. So any fight Johan Jojovski gets into, if Oschersleben is able to get through on him, for example, then Oschersleben might decide that he wants to be a bit more secure inside that top 6 and go chasing after Ben Spunky as well. So this is where the tension is somewhat in and around this top 6, so and including Banki in 5th.
Yeah, Banki will be hoping that Jojovski and Oschersleben kind of battle, to be honest.
Yeah. So
that they can lose a bit of time to him and he can just travel off into the distance and get that nice, comfortable P5. I'm not sure this is going to be a comfortable P5 in the slightest, to be completely honest. I think this is going to get very fruity very quickly, indeed, with 8 minutes to go. There's a driver in the world of sim racing that will make me send at any point. It is Ulas Oschersleben. He comes from Ferrari, from F1 eSports, and that is Send City. So he has got all the experience in the world, so expect Ulas to produce some fireworks in the latter stages of this race.
I mean, he kind of has to, right? If he wants to try and get himself qualified, he has really no choice. He can't just sit there and just go, oh, I can just go into the last chance qualifier. And that's not really a winning attitude. So he's definitely going to go for it here in these final couple of laps. Let's just say that. And we'll have to see the defensive drive from Jojovski as a result as well. And we'll have to see if there's any conflict in between these two drivers here. But it'll be interesting to get the drama started early on in the season, wouldn't it? But we're just maybe a couple of minutes away from that. But everything's still very calm, at least in this top half of the field. We have a look down towards P22. Strybar has still a second gap over Ralph Arella here at the moment. So Strybar looking clear, at least in terms of that final spot to get yourself into the last chance qualifier.
Yeah, again, it will feel pretty comfortable, but all it takes is someone to make a mistake in front of you and then your race can be over. So, yeah, just want to make sure you get into that last chance to qualify. If you're P22 right now, the chance of being top 6 is almost impossible. Stranger things, stranger things I don't think have happened. Well, P22, they've got to P6, 6 minutes to go, but you never know. But yeah, make sure that you're in that final heat race and then qualify better. Really, it's as simple as that. With this race circuit, the characteristics of this circuit, it's so difficult to make any overtake. We only saw overtakes realistically on the first lap off the start. People with cold tyres, maybe people who just got a poor start. It really does come down to that. And once you get into the rhythm of the race around here, relatively easy to defend. So it's all about, if you're P7 down to 22, what have you learned from this experience? Is there any more time you can find in qualifying? The lucky thing they have is they are in heat number 1. So they've actually now got about half an hour between heat 2 and indeed heat 3, where they can actually go out there and maybe find that extra couple of tenths or hundredths.
Yeah, they can have a look at what went right, what went wrong in this race. It is sometimes a tricky predicament. I think most of them, if they've had a disappointing race, will probably blame qualifying, because it is pretty difficult to try and pull off the overtakes here at Oschersleben. So, that might be the main point that drivers pick up on, is that I just need to qualify better. If I qualify inside the top 6 and I survive the first lap, then I should be relatively okay.
Hold on, Dre's is DNF. Dre's is from P22 is DNF here. I'm just looking at the bottom of the timing tower. So P22 has been, it's a BMW driver now, by the looks of things. So we look at the board of Emre Chihan. So who's in P22 now? There we go. So now we're on board, and yeah, there we go. It's Marco Whitman's car from the season. We've got Arella. So Ralph Arella has been given a freebie there, and the DNF. Was the car spinning in the air by any chance? Because if it was, that will be a disconnect.
Yeah, I think it was.
Dre, I think disconnected.
Yeah, I think it was clipping through the terrain because the camera decided to go into the void. So it may have been a disconnect there for Philip Trace, which is super, super unfortunate. It's the unfortunate reality, however, of sim racing. I'd say it's the equivalent to a random mechanical failure that you might get in the real world. You lose a gear potentially. You have an engine problem. It's it's unfortunate, and Lady Luck is not on Philip Drace's side, unfortunately.
Yeah, I use that that analogy really to explain a disconnect. It's like the same as having like an engine failure in real life, but it doesn't make the drivers feel any better. I can assure you that right now. They're still going to be pretty annoyed with how that's gone down. So Drace is looking pretty comfortable in P22, but you know, one man's loss is another man's game. Ralph Arella is now in P22, but unfortunately for him, he's got a car within 0.4 of a second. That's actually the only Mercedes I've seen. The AMG there behind. I don't think I've seen another one on the grid today. Maybe quite nice to see a Mercedes qualify. Oh, and as I say that, there's one right in front. So what do I know? I'm just going to shut up for a minute.
There we go. Villa Crevi is the other Mercedes. So we have Sebastian Ree and Villa Crevi. They're the only Mercedes representatives in this field. Maybe we'll get a couple more when we get towards heat number 2. But it does seem like the Porsche is the car of choice at the moment. It currently occupies the top 5 spots. Then you get a consecutive more 5 spots all the way down to P10, occupied by Ferraris. So it does seem like the Porsche and the Ferrari are the cars you want to be picking here into Oschersleben. But yeah, that's a whole different discussion, isn't it?
Yeah, let's not bring BAP up. That will bring them all out of the woodwork. So let's leave that alone. Let's look at Valdalf then, currently residing in P10. The gap between P10 and P9 is just shy of 3 seconds. So it's about 2.6 seconds maybe. Not a massive gap, but big enough. So you're looking like it's going to be the last chance qualifier. And realistically, if you are P7 and P8, and that is Osildrim and Florian Hasse, you've got to feel like, oh, do you know what? I've definitely got the pace to be in that top 4 in a last chance qualifier. You don't want to leave it down to that, of course. You know, you don't want to be putting yourself in a position where, you know, it becomes a bit more of a lottery. As soon as you have any kind of incident at the start of a race there, you're in trouble. And everybody's going to be absolutely sending it in the last chance qualifier race. It really is as simple as that. Moritz Lohner isn't going to have to be worried about that. With 2 minutes left on the clock, he's on lap number 13. It's almost guaranteed at this point. Jack Keithley is in 2nd position. We've got Yarshall, who is in 3rd spot. Then Emre Chihan is in 4th after dropping a couple of positions, but he'll still take that P4. Ben Spanky and Yayovsky are your top 6. It actually looks like Osildrim may have just dropped back off that top 6 ever so slightly.
Yeah, he might have. Just having a look at this situation back here, it looks like Yayovsky might just have enough of a buffer to make sure that he's not going to be under too much pressure in the last minute and a half here of this race. It's a much more comfortable position to be in than he was just about, what, 4 or 5 minutes ago, where Osildrim was breathing down his neck for all intents and purposes. He's actually, Yayovsky is actually catching up right to the back of Ben Spanky here at the moment, so that's going to be an interesting predicament. I don't expect Yayovsky to really go for this one, considering, you know, if they have any extended side-by-side, then they're going to drop back into the clutches of those behind, and then they'll be risking their qualification spots. But we can hope, I suppose. Yeah,
ironically, Erhan sat in his car right now going, who have you been a bit faster in front of me, to be honest? It doesn't really want to get involved in anything. A top 6 is good enough. We move. We've got one more lap to go after this one. But yeah, you just get that top 6, you're golden. If that number 99 Porsche has some issues, as Ben Spanky, then you may be put into the clutches then of Ulas Osildrim. So right now, yeah, Ben Spanky is just sat there going, oh, please can you be a little bit faster? I don't want to be sent by the car behind. And actually, he's been backed in to Ulas Osildrim by the looks of things. And it's not intentional, that's for sure. But yeah, Yayovsky may be in a bit of spot of bother on the final lap of this race.
Yeah, we'll have to see if there's any aggressive move here from Osildrim, but he's just way too far back. It's not going to happen in towards turn number 1, and as we get things slowed down in towards Hotel, that's turn number 2 here at Oschersleben. He can get as close as he wants, but the lack of overtaking opportunities here at this track is really biting these drivers here at the moment. It's a very, very big struggle out there, and it's a trend that we usually see at this circuit, if I'm being completely honest. But time has expired, and so the next time Moritz Lohner comes across the line, it will be the end of the race.
Yeah, 100% will be, and it has been a statement performance from Moritz Lohner. Someone who loves the DTM eSports, has been a previous champion, remember, as well. Managed to get himself a real-life drive because of it. Last year, took sim racing as his sole sole job, I guess. He took it a little bit more seriously and Got some really major results last year as well, but this year comes back to DTM eSports. And boy, he is basically picking up from where he left off. The final couple of corners, we will go in Tim Heinemann's car of all cars. The rivalry between Tim Heinemann and Moritz Lohner is very well documented, but it doesn't matter for the moment because Moritz Lohner will cross the line. He will take the checkered flag and he will take Shootout 1, Race 1 or Heat 1 win. It will also be joined by Jack Heathley, Yarshall, Emre Cihan, Ben Spanky and Erhan Yayovsky will pick up P6. I don't think there's any contact between them either, so I would imagine there's not going to be any stewards inquiries. So that looks like it will be your top 6 to go through. Ulas Osilderen and Florian Hasser will be the first couple of drivers that will make it through to our last chance qualifier. And Ralph Arella had to do a little bit of defending at the end there, but he will be our final driver that makes it through to the last chance qualifier. So remember, the top 6 make it through automatically to our championship. And then there's a last chance qualifier race later on between the drivers that finish in 7th to 22nd. Oh, what a race there. Moritz Lohner did get the fastest lap. He was indeed the race winner and pole position. He gets the triple crown. He picks up the race victory. Jack Heathley is in 2nd. Yarshall 3rd. Cihan, Panky and Yayovsky are in your top 6. I think they've pretty much booked their tickets to the championship. Ulas Osilderen will be hoping there's some kind of penalty, but he will be in the last chance qualifier race. Hasser, Andronowski, we've got then Baldalf, Michel, Kunze, Neg, Drovoz. I'm going to struggle with the name. Drovozakelv, Janssen, Gerhardt, Peringa, Martin, Pinches, Kraevi, Stramer, and Arella. They will all be making it through to the last chance. Ree, Ramos, Zabdir, Burka, and the rest of the grid there, they will be making their way to potentially Shootout number 2, because there is still a chance for them to qualify through via that method. But Connery, it kind of was dealt with by the track, wasn't it? Oschersleben, not most known for its overtaking ability. So qualifying, if you get yourself a good qualifying spot, you're more than likely going to get through, and that was the case for the race.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be the trend. Perhaps we'll see in Heat 2 as well. So drivers will take note of that. They say, okay, I need to get myself a good qualifying. I'm going to focus on getting that flying lap in. With my many opportunities, I'll get to do so, and make sure I'm starting as high up the field as I can, because really, we saw no passes, no passes for position that were instigated by the passing driver, right? We saw mistakes that might have lost positions. We saw errors and things like that and disconnections. But I don't think, at least on the cameras, we saw any pass for position that was actually someone sending it down the inside as a fair move.
No, and the track is a little bit speeded up, especially turn 1. The old version of the circuit, it was like a 90-degree left handle with a space inside of the corner. So if you cut the corner, you just end up facing the moon, which is never ideal. So yeah, now that with that turn 1 being a little bit faster, it's harder for someone to outbrake someone to find a move into turn number 2. So that is a factor as well. But yeah, I think Heat 2 drivers have to be looking at that and thinking, yeah, I need to absolutely maximize qualification, because if I don't, I could be in serious trouble.
Yeah. And so that gives us our talking point in towards heat number 2, that's for sure. So we'll maintain the focus on qualifying that we've had. But of course, you never know what might happen during the race. You might be Philip Drace, for example, and have a random disconnection in the middle of the race, and all of a sudden you're not part of the last chance qualifier, and you're going to have to look to Shootout number 2 to try and get yourself an opportunity. It is a big shame, but that's just the reality of sim racing. Sometimes the internet issues bite us on occasion, and we just have to take it on the chin, so to speak. But it's a big shame, but it is what it is. But congratulations to Moritz Lohner for taking the first race win of the season, well, of this pre-season, I suppose. We're not in the actual season yet. And we're going to be looking forward to heat number 2.
Yeah, it looks like we can talk to him as well.
Yeah.
Connery, he's in the chat. So let's have a little interview with our race winner and indeed triple crowner and DTM trophy driver. He's been pretty much doing it for a long time at this point as well.
I don't have permissions to move him.
That is less than ideal. I guess we could.
Ask him to.
We could maybe move into his chat. I guess is probably the best idea to do.
Just pull in. Why not?
Let's move into his chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go and have a look.
Well, yeah, we didn't have the permissions to drag Moritz Lohner, but we will have a little interview with him. Moritz, it's been a while since we've seen you racing on RaceRoom eSports. You managed to get yourself not only a pole position, not only a fastest lap, but a race victory and safe passage through to our main championship. How you feeling, mate?
Pretty good. After the clean sweep, it's always pretty good. And nice to hear the both of you again. It's been a while on RaceRoom, and also been a while with DTM. Quite the experience in the last few years. Also with you, Luke, on the real track. That was fun. But yeah, today for me it was like I was feeling the pressure. I was very nervous, to be honest, because I was like, back on RaceRoom. It's my sim. It's basically my home where I, yeah, quote unquote, grew up in esports. So I wanted to perform. I put in a really good performance, and I was able to achieve that. Qualifying was maybe not the best, but it was enough for P1. And yes, I think you said it already on broadcast. Oschersleben is so hard to overtake. So I just needed to have a good start and bring it over the finish line.
Well, it was great seeing you out there, Moritz. What's your attitude now coming into the next stages of the competition? Are you a little bit concerned about some of the other drivers' pace, or are you comfortable in your own abilities?
I'm quite looking forward to watching Split 2 now, because there's a lot of drivers in there who are new to RaceRoom as well, but look quite fast in this one, and a lot of fast drivers in Split 2 anyway, so that will be interesting to watch, and how fast they will be, how fast the qualifying times will be, how fast the race times will be. And after that, I think I can make a very good assumption of probably how the season can look like. But yeah, looking forward to it.
Well, one more from me then, Morris, before we let you go. Obviously, you've had a massive rivalry with Tim Heinemann, not only in sim racing, but on the real track with the DTM trophy. What was it like driving his car and taking it to victory, and did you pee in his seat?
Yeah, I mean, Tim and I have a great rivalry. It unfortunately ended quite early because he went into real life racing quite early and abandoned sim racing a little bit. But yeah, like we are good friends since basically the very beginning, since we drove against each other on the virtual track and then also on the real track. So I'm really happy to drive his beautiful livery, which also kind of resembles my story a little bit. So I also felt like it's kind of my livery as well.
Fair play, mate. Congratulations, bud. Triple crown. You're off through to the main championship. Pretty straightforward day for you, and we'll see you in a few weeks' time.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Right, we're into qualifying for heat number 2 now, Connery. I'll let you take over for a little bit. I'm going to gift out some codes to the RaceRoom chat on YouTube and indeed the DTM chat on YouTube. Again, if you want to indeed use these codes, try to get words out, very difficult after that incredible first race. You need to have RaceRoom open. You need to go to your driver profile button on the main menu. In the top right-hand corner, locate your in-game wallet icon and click it. Select the option redeem code. Copy and paste the code I'm about to send. Actual Vision's my name, by the way, in the chat, so you'll see the code pop up. And then you can confirm it. So I'm going to post the codes now, and then it's basically the first person to redeem the code. Good luck.
Absolutely. We do have the qualifying for race number 2, or rather heat number 2, underway. So we got a different set of drivers here compared to heat number 1. They're trying to get themselves their slot into the main season. If they're able to finish in the top 6, then they are successful in doing so. If they finish anything from 7th to 22nd, they will be entered into the final race of this evening, where they'll get a last chance to get themselves their ticket into this 2024 DTM eSports season. So this preseason has been fantastic so far. Let's get ourselves another qualifying session done and dusted. Looks like things are relatively close in the order once again. Lucas Muller taking a provisional pole position at the moment, with Alessandro Ottaviani putting the Porsche up into second place here at the moment. He's got his fellow countryman of Gianmarco Verduzzi up there as well. So an Italian P2 and P3 here at the moment, as you see Uval Rosen take the tow back to the pit lane. His lap time was not valid that last time around, so that's why you didn't see him pop onto the left-hand side of the screen there with the timing tower. Here's Isaac Price as he heads his way around the circuit right now. He's got himself onto a flying lap here. He's up about, well, just over a tenth of a second on his personal best here, which will actually put him around about P3, P4 if he's able to convert that coming across the line, which he will do so in pretty imminent fashion. So the Brit brings that Ferrari through and across, and let's see where he gets put. And in fact, he doesn't move an inch, so it must have been a scruffy final sector for Isaac Price for that to happen. He's 0.2 of a second behind the race leader, or rather not the race leader, but the qualifying, the provisional pole position here at the moment. Saying that, he's 0.2 of a second, but he's 7th place. He's 7 races behind. It's crazy close. You can see the top 3. They're all within 1 single 10th of a second, Luke.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. This is a lot closer than what we had in heat number 1. And heat number 1 was, ridiculously close. Isaac Price, by the looks of things, may have invalidated his lap time there. That's what I gather from that final sector. Alessandro Ottaviani. Recently become a privateer, I guess. He's unattached to a team right now, so a perfect opportunity, perfect shop window for Alessandro to go out there and showcase his skill set. Not only is he very good at sim racing, but he's very good on camera. I'm selling him right now as well. He's a good-looking chap. So yeah, any teams out there, get your offers in, because he is perfect for you. But right now, he is perfectly in P3, 900ths of a second then behind Marco Pajic, Mad Dog, and then we've got Lucas Muller in P1. Romanidis is in P4. We've got Gianmarco Feducci in P5. Marcel Shinchik in P6. I thought Heat 1 was stacked here, but I'm just looking at these names now. Oh my God. This championship, we've got 8 weeks of this, Connery. I am so excited.
Yeah, and we'll get the top drivers for both of these heats in that main season. It's going to be incredibly competitive. Virgilio Baldi heads straight across the line. That wasn't a valid lap, unfortunately, so he's back onto another flyer. Here is the Hungarian. He's the only driver, actually, to have not set a lap time just yet. And again, he's going to take the tow back to the starting point as well. So he's not too happy with the laps that he's done so far. He's done 6 minutes worth of them.
Yeah, if you're not happy at this stage of qualifying, you're under a little bit of pressure here. Marco Pajic, then again, Mad Dog. If you look at drivers who've had an incredible last 18 months, 2 years, Marco Pajic is one of them. He's really established himself as one of the very best sim racers in the world across multiple platforms, and he's absolutely showcasing that skill set again. And I'm telling you now, he was kind of behind the top tier last time out in the DTM eSports for me, Connery. And again, not trying to do Marco a disservice here at all, but I would say he was just like one of the lead drivers of the second tier, if that makes sense. Not the case anymore. Marco Pajic is absolutely at the sharp end, one of the better drivers around in the world of esports. And that experience that he's gained over the last couple of years has been incredible. I'm watching the YouTube channel right now for RaceRoom, so let me know. I've not spoken to you yet so far today, but let me know who you're supporting and let me know where you're watching from around the world. Welcome, and hopefully you're enjoying yourselves.
Yeah, and well, we're enjoying ourselves so far. This has been a pretty good affair so far, but we still got 3 minutes of this qualifying session left to go. We have now 5 drivers inside the first 0.2 of a second behind the leader, which is absolutely insane. Michael Romadinez getting himself up there relatively recently. Same with Pajic, of course. Yuval Rosen did get himself a lap time set. He's down in P12 here at the moment in the Porsche. But it seems like we're seeing a lot more Ferraris filter themselves towards the top of the order here at the moment. Pajic is the highest placed Porsche in second place, then you have Ottaviani in 4th, but the rest of the top 10 are all Ferrari.
Yeah, they certainly are. So it's a little bit of a change of the guard. Porsche and Ferrari definitely have the 2 quicker cars. That's for certain. Again, we're starting to stray towards the BOP conversation. Don't want to get involved in that, Moritz. Moritz? We spoke to Moritz, Connery.
I wish I had right now. A fraction of the talent of Moritz Lohner.
Yeah, well, same here. I feel like you've got all of the talent of Moritz and more, but more to do with commentary, not sim racing. I've never seen you sim race, Connery. I can't imagine it's too great, but it's same as me. I'm also. There's a reason why we talk about it.
I used to be good on tracks with allegedly only 4 corners that then turn left. With a bit of backing. Yeah, that's what I used to be good at.
I have a race this weekend with just a few more corners than 4 corners at the very same circuit that you're talking about. So, yeah, it's 24 hours long, so that'll be fun. I'm going to be very tired after this weekend, that's for sure. Isaac Price, if you're PA and your name's Isaac Price, that means that the lobby you're in, the session you're in, is just ridiculous. Looking at Isaac Gillison, who's currently 9th. We've got Riley, who's currently in 10th position. They're not making it through as it stands. This is going to be in a ridiculous field for the DTM eSports 2024. I'm super pumped for it. I have no. Obviously, you've got to look at Moritz Lohner and think, yeah, he's going to be one of the favourites for certain. Lucas Muller right now is showing his pace as well. But this is absolutely wide open.
Yeah. Isaac Price, personal best Sector 1 and Sector 2 here. If he's strung up Sector 3 in a nice fashion, he'll be able to improve positions, and he does. Up into the top 5 is a great place to be. It means you're inside also the top 6, which is the qualification into the series.
And remember, we saw in race number 1 that apart from lap number 1, there's very minimal opportunities to make an overtake. So qualifying is absolutely key, as we just saw some movement there. Marcel Shinshik moves himself up into a top 6 as well.
Yeah, of course, you know, he's really gone from strength to strength in the last couple of years at the top level of competition, of course, most notably in Rennsport. But let's have a look at the final qualifying order here, Luke.
Yeah, we certainly will. Lucas Muller then takes pole position as it stands. I think there's a couple of seconds still left here, but a 22.400. Marco Pajic then in 2nd spot. Fiducci is in 3rd. Ottaviani in 4th spot. Isaac Price is in 5th. They've got Marcel Shinshik in 6th spot. So that's your top 6 positions, which is vital. You need to be top 6 to qualify through to the championship, main championship, that is. We then got Romanidis, Krippner, Gillison, Riley's your top 10. We then got Blankenberg, Rosen. We've then got Veit, Whitvert, Buxi, Hakkinen, Sonel, Mackenberg, Geisler. The second Mackenberg, we've got Marvin and Sven. Sven being P20. Gontier and Zari are your top 22. Remember, the top 7 to 22nd position will go through to our final last chance qualifier race. Then we've got Fiedler, Tiefenbacher, and a few other drivers, Connery. Warm up 60 seconds before we find our next 6 drivers for our championship.
I mean, you can throw all of the top 6 and perhaps a couple more under one blanket here. This is that was an incredible qualifying session, and the drivers will also have potentially noticed that and gone, oh my words, you know, everyone is so close. I need to be on the top of my game, because if I'm a tenth of a second off, or even half a tenth of a second off per lap, then I'm going to be coming under direct threat from behind. Not a nice position to be in.
No, definitely not. So get yourself in that top 6 and you are absolutely golden to get yourself through. And judging by the state of how quick everybody is and how close the top end of the esports talent pool is in RaceRoom, if you don't, you know, if you miss out on a chance of going through today, you might not get another chance, because that is how quick everybody else is on this sim.
Yeah, absolutely. As we bring our warm-up session to a close, we'll get the grid and procedure underway in just a couple of moments' time, so we can get our second heat race of the day started to try and see which 6 drivers from this particular heat will book themselves a slot in the DTM eSports series for 2024. It could be any one of the top 10, really, depending on the exact circumstances that happen. Of course, like we've touched on before, overtaking on merit is quite difficult here. Maybe, however, you can start pressuring the driver ahead into a mistake, which will then help that overtake. That probably is the only thing you can do, really, here to try and influence any overtaking opportunities at this track.
Yeah, I could not agree with you more. I think if you don't make a move here at the start, you might be in a little bit of trouble. So if you've qualified top 6, protect that with your life, move forward. Don't worry about anything else other than that top 6. If you're 6th position and an opportunity presents itself where it's a 50-50 for P5, do not take that opportunity on. Sit behind and make sure you get through. But as a commentator, take that opportunity on. Make the overtake. That's what I want from you. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this goes down. So we are waiting for the drivers to appear on our screens. They've got another 20 minutes of racing here. Top 6 go through to the next stage of our championship, in the official stage of the championship. Then it's 7th to 22nd to go through to Heat 3, or the last chance qualifier. We're about to go green light racing here. 5 red lights for Heat 2 here at Oschersleben, and we are green light racing. Lucas Muller with a very good start, but I tell you what, it is equal, if not bettered, by Marco Pajic. Down towards turn number 1 they will go. It gets blocked off there. There is a sea of Ferraris with 2 Porsche in the middle there. It's been a side-by-side action of 77 different 69 cars as we come through turn number 2. Muller does hold on to the lead of this race. Pajic in 2nd. And then you've got the Italian stallions, Ottaviani and Fiducci are in 5th and 6th. And Price and Marcel Shinshik are going to hold on to P5 and P6. And actually, Marcel Shinshik momentarily has just got ahead. And and now has a bit. Oh, there's a Mercedes off in the background, by the way. Yeah, he does get himself a little bit of an insurance there. Isaac Gillison and Romanidis were too busy fighting, so they missed out on a potential opportunity there to make their way up to a top 6. It's a very clean start, a very frantic start, and now it should filter into be a bit of a train.
Yeah, that was an absolutely titanic scrap, though, for P6, our last qualification spot, in and amongst all of that one. It was pretty crazy to witness. There's no new entries inside the top 6, though, but they just shuffled around a little bit. Isaac Gillison getting 2 spots off of that entire situation. We do have to really make sure that we're saying the names here, Luke, because you're not going to be able to tell the difference between these cars based off the livery. So we're going to have to try and help you guys out viewing at home here with that. But as we head our way across the line to complete the first lap of this heat number 2, I'm thinking back in race 1. Lucas Muller leading from Marco Pajic, from Alessandro Ottaviani, then Fiduci, Chinjic and Bryce round out the top 6, the all-important top 6.
Yeah, 100%. It is basically Ferrari, Porsche, Porsche, Ferrari, 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 Porsche. So that is your top 11 as it stands, and it is a sea of Verstappen.com liveries, and indeed Jack Aitken's livery as well. Emil Frey liveries all over the show as it stands. Lucas Miller for 1/10 of a second advantage there. Half a second then further back is Ottaviani from Marco Pajic. Then it's about 7/10 actually for Fiduci behind Ottaviani. Marcel Chinchik 4/10 further back as well. Isaac Price is 5/10 back. And then you've got Gillison, who we're on board with right now. He will try and shape up a manoeuvre, that is for certain. I think we're going to see seeing him in a Ferrari for the entirety of the championship if he does indeed advance through to the next stages due to who he drives for. But yeah, it is a train now. Are we going to see something different from heat number 1? I very much doubt it, but you know, there could be some desperation that forms during this 20 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. That wouldn't be surprising. These drivers knowing that, you know, they could get the qualification done here and not have to worry about that last chance qualifier, and not have to worry about a potential second shootout as well in a couple of weeks' time. So it's really, you know, time is of the essence here in this situation. These are not very long races at all, just 20 minutes. Of course, when we get to the main season, the format will look a little different to the shootouts here. So you'll have to listen out, and you'll know more about that in due course. I don't think I can publicly release what the situation's going to be just yet, but it's certainly going to be an intriguing one indeed. But for these shootouts, though, for these 20-minute sprint races, you're having to go 110% from the drop of the green flag if you're not inside that top 6.
Yeah, it's 16 races per week that are all 1 lap long, guys. That's the format for the official championship. So just 1 lap races, 16 of them. No, we can't obviously give that information away. We've got Hungarian then, Istvan Tix, currently in P22. This is the bubble position, basically. If you want to continue today and get into that last chance qualifier race, and you need to be in P7 to 22nd. And right now under a little bit of pressure from a BMW. And actually a couple of BMWs stalking as we head then down in towards the Shell S's. We saw that there was a disconnect in the previous race, which gained a couple of drivers some spots. Ultimately, you don't want that to be happening this time around, but you can see at the back of the field here, it's filtered out. Big gaps formed there, so people have had some issues for sure.
Yeah, we have an official DNF for both Patrick Sari and Giroboldi. Both Hungarians out of this event, unfortunately, at the same time. So that's a big shame for those guys, but you know, they won't be able to race in race 3 today, but they might be able to get themselves a look at getting into the second shootout and then try and qualify in that way as well. But it's just a longer process, and most drivers will see it as an unnecessary process, but if you've had a bad day, then you really have no choice.
Diego Boldi's a legend, one of the first major names that I came across in sim racing. Still around today, and a massive reason as to why we have these championships on RaceRoom as well. So shout out to Gergo. He's a great lad.
Yeah, absolutely. Most of these guys have been pretty friendly and reasonable in their interactions when we've had our interviews and had our chats outside of the races as well. Everyone.
We are going to see a move here. Yeah, that's looks like he might have got a poor exit, to be honest. It might be as simple as that. I'm not sure that there would have been a slowdown. But yeah, just a poor exit, and unfortunately a position lost. Again, they're only really fighting just to keep into that top 22. It's not the end of the world, but you don't want to get into a habit of falling backwards. Get into a habit of doing that, and you start to underdrive the car, and that's where mistakes can creep in. Or in fact, you can start overdriving the car. Well, right now, he's trying to get the tyres back into a decent temperature range. I'm wondering if he did go off the circuit. Maybe he just picked up a little bit of gravel, and that really affected the exit speed to the back straight.
Potentially, but it looks like he's being able to pick it back up. In quite comfortable fashion at the moment. Of course, he does have Jens Fielder behind, which may be applying a bit of pressure to the back of that Porsche, but no immediate threat in terms of any sorts of moves here just yet. And even if there was, well, it's Oschersleben, so you're going to really struggle to try and get yourself through anyway, even if you have a couple of tenths of a second delta in terms of your clear air lap times over the rest of the competition.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Should we check out the Mackenbergs? We've got Marvin Mackenberg in 16th. And Sven is, I think, outside the top 22. Yeah, he is. So he has been P25. So Marvin is comfortably in that top 16 right now. You never know, he might just decide to slow the whole pack down behind him and start to try and help Sven Mackenberg. I doubt that's going to be the case. You want to look after yourself in this. But yeah, Sven's dropped down 5 positions. Marvin's gained 2 spots. Who's gained the most positions today? Maybe Marcel Schinchik. 3 spots. I'm sure there's someone a bit further back. I guess he's Marcel Schinchik's gained the most meaningful spots with 3. So he went up from outside the top 6 into the top 4. So very impressive from Marcel. And don't give Marcel any opportunities. Don't let him go ahead of you, because it is very difficult to try and overtake him. It doesn't matter what race you're in. Try and overtake Marcel Schinchik. Oh, that is.
Yeah.
Oh, he's gone. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that, because I remember the top 6 being slightly different last time we looked at it, and apparently Alessandro Ottaviani has DNF'd from this event, unfortunately. So
from the top 6.
Yeah, from the top 6. So that means Isaac Gillison getting a golden ticket at the moment. He's in that 6th place, gets promoted up into that due to Ottaviani's problem, and he's going to be, might have to send a thank you cards to Ottaviani, even though that might be slightly insulting at this point.
Yeah, that's a bit of a freebie for Gillison there, and he doesn't have to do any hard work now, he doesn't have to push, and I'm not sure he quite had the pace to really make an overtake on Isaac Price to get that done. As you can see, there's a gap formed between the two of them, both in exactly the same car, so there's no strengths and weakness differences. It's all about the driver power. Yeah, not ideal there for Ottaviani. We see a spin. Gretschel is in the background going, thank you very much, I will have that. Unfortunately, Tit is facing the wrong way, and that is not ideal. P26 now, so yeah, that might be last chance qualifier opportunity done and dusted.
Yeah, just a solo car spin. There was no influence from any other car in that one. It was just he dropped the back end of it, which is difficult to do in GT3 cars, admittedly, when you have all the driver assists. But yeah, it's not a great display.
It's not difficult. What are you on about? I do it all the time. That's probably that's my driving style you're talking about there. It's not difficult to spin the car. It's the one thing I'm really good at. Don't diminish me on that one.
That sounds like a you problem.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, either way, no matter what the mechanism of spin it was, or the reason for it was, Tietz having a big issue there, and drops to the very back of the cars that are actually still running here in this situation. We started with 29 cars, we now have only 25 left remaining in this race. And the important point that we haven't brought up just yet here, Luke, is the fact that these mid-pack guys, even though they're solidly inside that range of 7 to 20 seconds, they still want to be fighting for positions here, because that determines their grid spot for that last chance qualifier.
That's an exceptional point, well made. Yeah, we haven't brought that up. So yeah, wherever you finish, you will be then on that row of the grid for the next race. So effectively, if you finish 7th in this race and 7th in the previous race, you're both going to start on the front row of the last chance qualifier. So yeah, you're spot on there, Connery.
Well, actually,
so making up a couple of positions.
Hang on. I've may have made an error here. I think we do actually get another qualifying session, so completely erase that from your memory. Of course, this week of the season, so we're we're a little bit unclear on the rules ourselves. But I do see on the schedule here we do have another qualifying session before before race 3 heat. So unless it's randomly changed in the last 2 hours when we had the rulebook update.
I'm going to be honest, mate. I did wonder if that was true, and then I just backed you up because I'm that kind of guy. I just backed you up. I'm your mate. But yeah, I did wonder where that was coming from. But we move. It's fine.
I appreciate it, but good friends call each other out. So
Okay.
you should have said something, right?
My bad. Well, we might have a battle for the lead here, and I tell you what, I would say in normal circumstances, there's no real need to do so. But when you've got a gap to work with of 1.7 seconds to Gianmarco Finucci behind, this might be an opportunity to go, do you know what? I am not just here to come second. When we get into the major championship, I have got your number. I can quite easily make an overtake, and I can quite easily go out there and win races. So Marco Pajic, who again, no disrespect to him whatsoever, someone I get on very well with, I would say was maybe the second tier of RaceRoom driver last time out. This time, he is absolutely top tier and looking to become top tier and getting P1 in this race.
Yeah, that would be a fantastic achievement, and tell you what, they have the buffer to do it. You know, they have 1.7 seconds of Finucci behind here. If they did want to have a little bit of a door-to-door fight, then they could do it and not have to worry too much about Finucci getting himself involved. Of course, they can't do it too much, you know, otherwise they will be sliding back. But they can have a go or two here and try and make a decent fight of the race lead with it.
Yeah, I'm down. Come on, Marco. Show us that mad dog in you and see if you can go and get yourself a free position or potential race victory. Lucas Muller will make this very, very difficult. These two have been racing against each other all last year as well, especially the first half of a season. Can find one more position here and get a race victory. What 7.5 minutes left to go? And he doesn't need to do it. Like we've just confirmed, he doesn't need to make the overtake. P1 is exactly the same worth as P6, but just to get that psychological advantage of I've got your number when it comes to a battle, maybe for a championship, because these two are going to be right up and in amongst it for the championship, I'm sure of that. When it comes to it, and it's like a case of, you know, maybe one needs to beat the other to win it, or, you know, finish second or third, they've got this to lean on. Remember Oschersleben, I got that overtake, or remember Oschersleben, I kept you behind me. So this is quite important.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's all those psychological games, not just in the current race, but like you said, across the entire season as well. Drivers will be learning a lot of things about each other. Of course, you know, in this sort of situation where these guys, you know, race each other all the time here in these top level events, so it may not be as much of a mystery about what each driver's sort of philosophy towards racing, what their driving style is. But you know, you can still set the tone for a season by, you know, maybe making a bit of a forceful but legal move early on and try and get inside the head.
100%. We've got 6 minutes left of this race. After this race, guys, I will be giving away another DTM 2023 code. I'll be giving two away. I'm going to give one away in the RaceRoom YouTube chat. I'm going to give one away in my chat on Twitch as well, Actorvision on Twitch. So again, thank you to RaceRoom for giving us some codes. We will also be giving another 10 away in Shootout 2, which is on the 2nd of February. We're seeing some action a little bit further back here. Gontier under a little bit of pressure, and actually looking to try and get a bit of insurance in a P21, a little over and under. As we head down towards that final corner, maybe going to outbrake. No, not quite going to work out there, but 3 BMWs fighting for 2 positions.
Yeah, and this is for the final spot for the last chance qualifier as well. We have Patrick Teifenbacher, the Austrian, looking to try and get himself inside of that top 22 to make sure that he has another chance of getting himself inside the DTM eSports series for the next season. It's intriguing to see this fight all the way back here, because you know we thought we were going to get a fight for the lead, which hasn't quite materialized just yet. Give it enough time. You know, usually we see close run things in the mid pack as drivers have their disagreements, but you know, this is quite significant back here. You know, this is the last spot to try and get yourself another race today.
Yeah, let's stay on board with this then. There's a mistake being made again. Gontier doesn't need to do this, doesn't need to try and make an overtake, but ultimately that extra bit of insurance is what you're looking for at this stage of the race. And then you've got the Austrian in P23, who I'm not sure really has the outright pace here to keep up unless they battle with each other. It just looked like the gap is going to come out. As we come then towards the Shell S's, a bit of a mistake there from the lead BMW. The gap's still not opened up significantly enough, though, for a move to be made. Gontier now is going to go all the way around the outside, potentially, of the second to last corner, but now has to set it up through the inside as it goes 3 wide. There is contact between them all. And, well, I'm not sure that anybody's going to win out there apart from the lead BMW. Number 56, Tiefenbacher, did not gain the position, even though he sent it 3 wide. But at this stage, with 4 minutes to go, I think they have to do things like this.
Yeah, showed the nose there down in towards turn number 1 as well. We might actually be seeing some action here at Oschersleben against the odds. It's fantastic to see these guys go wheel to wheel, but it's currently Gretschel in that P21 that these guys are kind of a little bit stacked up behind here at this moment in time. Gontier is the driver in P22 who is in the final qualification spot into the last chance qualifier. Of course, Tiefenbach is on the back of this one, looking to try and solidify, try and get his opportunity to race again today. So this is great to watch back here, and it seems like Gontier is looking pretty aggressive at this stage. Gretschel was previously going ultra defensive into the Shell S, that's at turn 11 and turn 12. It was really compromising him in towards the final couple of corners, and we'll have to see if that happens again.
Come on, Connery, give us some of that front bumper cam. I want to see the rear diffuser of Gontier's car for a lap here. Let's see how close we can get to come through the Shell S's. Gontier just sliding the rear out ever so slightly, so just loses a little bit of time. But yeah, Gretchen under a lot of pressure here. 3 minutes to go. Oh, that's good. That's the one. There we go. Through the final corner we go. Bit of a mistake there from Gretchen. Gontier on the power nice and early, but he seems to be struggling as well. There's 0.3 of a second separating P22 and P23, so the Austrian is very, very close indeed to making a move. Again, turn 1's a little bit too fast realistically to send one up the inside, unless the driver in front of you makes a mistake. Tiefenbacher just in behind. Let's check it out from Tiefenbacher's perspective a little bit as well, so we can see both cars in front. There we go, perfect. So we've got Gontier currently in a comfortable P22, will go through to the last chance qualifying race. Will Tiefenbacher be able to make an overtake through towards triple wheel ghost? 3 different lines being taken, by the way, by all 3 drivers, but ultimately keeping it nice and tucked in so no one's losing any time, no one's really losing any positions. I tell you what, the next time they come across the line here, this might be, I don't know, they may get 1 more lap actually. There might be 2 laps to go for these drivers. But right now, some severe pressure on keeping hold of that 22nd spot.
Yeah, it is. It's getting more and more interesting by the moment. Less than 2 minutes left remaining. Here is Lucas Muller. So they're doing lap times in the 1:22s here at the moment. So that's the margin that you're looking for on the timer.
2 more?
To decide whether we're going 1 more or not. But it does look like we're going to go 2 more here at this stage for those leaders. And so they're still close together. There's still 0.3 of a second between each other, are Lucas Muller and Marco Pajic. But I don't think this is going to change before the end of the race, unless Pajic wants to go for a very hopeful move indeed. I think the more interesting one is actually the battle for P21, 22, 23, because it has actual ramifications.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more there. This is going to be, this is going to come down to the wire, isn't it? Gretschel's the one right at the back of this order, sorry, at the front of this order. There's a mistake from Gretschel then, opens the door up ever so slightly. Gontier, though, not close enough to make a move. Try and send it up the inside here of triple. Ultimately, you're going to lose a lot of time for drivers in behind to get themselves involved as well. Tell you what, it's anyone's guess. There's a little bit of a nudge there as well. But it's not all fair. We've got a Porsche that was in a qualifying position earlier on to get to that last chance qualifier, just coming up in behind in Teats. Is there the opportunity for the Porsche to steal a position away if these all battle on the final lap, ridiculously? It will come down to that. So now it's all about keeping your cool and not trying to do too much. You're in that number 1 car right now. Trying to make an overtake might cost you a chance of going through to the last chance qualifier.
Yeah, and well, we see on board with Gretschel here at the moment. They all stack up coming through this section. There goes Gontier to the inside, but Tiefenbacher goes for the move as well. And he looks like he's secured it coming off the final corner.
Yeah, that's... didn't see enough of it, but that's naughty there, I think. Teats, by the way, in the background is thinking, I'm absolutely loving this. There's almost a bit of contact between the 2 of them. If they get into it, Teats might be getting a freebie here. So keep an eye out on that Porsche as we head towards the final couple of corners. Oh no, where are we? Are we on the final?
straight.
No, we're not on the back straight. Sorry, got completely lost there. So we're on the back straight, heading up towards the Shell S's, and it is looking beautiful here for our P1 in Lucas Muller. Lucas Muller, who just didn't have the greatest of years last year, maybe will feel like he took a bit of a step back this year, has started with an absolute bang. He's challenged by Mad Dog, Marco Pajic, but it's not quite going to be enough. The young German then, Lucas Muller, is going to take the checkered flag and just like Morris Lohner, become a race winner in the Shootout #1 and book his place through to the official championship. Gianmarco Feducci is going to join them, Marcel Schinchik, Isaac Price and Isaac Gillison. The Battle of the Isaacs, they're both going to go through. We're going to see the Battle of the Isaacs through the next stage of this competition. Unfortunately for Michael Romanidis, it's not going to be enough. He's not going to quite qualify through to the next phase. I think the overtake will be looked at between Tiefenbacher and Gontier. I'm not sure whether this will be, an official result or not. I'm sure the stewards will be taking a look at it. But as it stands, Tiefenbacher does take that final position into the last chance qualifier race. Fastest lap in the race is Marco Pajic. Lucas Muller is our race winner. As you can see there, it's Lucas Muller and Marco Pajic at the top of the results chart. Feducci gets a podium. Schinchik, Price, and Gillison are your top 6. Then it's Romanidis, Krippner, Rosen, Veit, Hakkinen. We've then got Blankenberg in P12, Luciano Whitler, Buxi. Then got Mackenberg, Geisler, Sunel, Fiedler, Schranko, Sen, Gretschel. Tiefenbacher is, well, they're going to be in our top 22 as it stands. I'm not sure whether it will stand. Again, they'll have to look at the overtake, but if it does, then Tiefenbacher is through. Gontier, Teat, Riley are indeed the last drivers who are classified with a best lap. But everyone else doesn't even have a best lap because they were out early on in this race. But race number 2, I think, was a little bit more exciting than race number 1. But we've got, I would say, for the shootout weeks, the main event coming up next. To be honest, the last chance qualifier is always absolutely bananas.
Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing to lose. Well, I mean, there's everything to lose in this situation, but you just have to go for that move to try and get yourself not inside the top 6 anymore. It's the top 4. It's the top 4.
Yeah, more cars. Effectively, more cars as well, right? So we've got 32 cars, less spots available, and for some of these drivers, it might be their final chance to get themselves into the main championship. I'm sure we'll see a few of the same names in shootout number 2. But, maybe some of them aren't even available for that. So this really is the last chance qualifier race for them. It is Heat 3, but I like calling it last chance qualifier.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes it more dramatic, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You just you can think of the the guy that does the movie soundtrack, not the movie soundtrack, but the movie trailer voice.
In a world
Where drivers have to compete for the last 4 spots in the DTM eSports series. Something like that.
Exactly that. Yeah, perfect. Absolutely perfect there.
My email is Connery at raptorsclass.com if you want me to voice your trailer. I'm just leaving it out there.
Yeah, well, we'll move swiftly on then. Should we get Lucas in the chat? Should we have a little chat with Lucas? Race winner from heat number 2. I'll let Connery do the honors. There he is. So, again, Lucas, great to see you, mate. Great win. I would say that last year may have been a bit disappointing for you, but how good is it to start 2024 the way you've just done it?
First of all, hi. Hi. It's been great. I mean, last week I already got a podium at a different competition, and now I win here with a pole. 2024 couldn't have started better, I guess.
Yeah, it was great seeing you out there. It seemed like a relatively comfortable affair. Maybe not as comfortable as Lohner in race 1 when he took the win there, but you had Pajic, I believe, really run you quite close until the end there. Were you concerned that he was going to try and have a little bit of fun and sling one down the inside at some point?
Yeah, actually, I was a bit scared if Marco maybe tries a dive bomb or whatever. But yeah, Marco's a nice guy and a fair driver, and I don't think there was the possibility for some overtakes. I mean, Oschersleben isn't the best track for overtaking, but that's going to change with the tracks we're going to have for the season for sure. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the season. I'm really, really happy. Still a bit shaking, a bit sweaty, all of this stuff. And yeah, great to have a RaceRoom win. Again, it's been a while.
Just to touch on Marco being right behind you, how important will that little battle you've had there, being able to keep someone like Marco Pajic behind you, how important will that be going into the season in terms of confidence?
Well, like it's very important because already in the practice with some of the other guys from other teams as well, and yeah, I mean it's always good if you beat some big names, maybe the biggest name in the game as well, a couple of times. That's always a nice feeling, and yeah, especially with Marco. I mean, Marco is insanely fast, especially in the Porsche. I think he's shown that over the last years, and yeah, and last year as well with, in a different game, different simulation. But yeah, I'm looking forward to battle for some more wins against him over the season, I hope.
Awesome, mate. It's great to see a smiling Lucas Muller again. I'm sure we'll see you on camera properly next time round. Yeah, well done, mate. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye. Have a nice evening.
So there we have it. Great to hear from Lucas there again. Maybe didn't have the best of seasons last season, but came into this year. Like he said, he's managed to get a podium already, and then plus a race win here in the DTM eSports. So a good start for the season for Mr. Muller.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't really complain about that. You know, you get yourself, you take the easiest route possible. It was the path of least resistance for Lucas Müller, and he gets himself a slot in the main DTM eSports 2024 series. And I'll be very much looking forward to see how he does in that race, because in those races, excuse me, because you know if this shootout performance copies over, then of course he may be within championship contention, which be an interesting situation, especially when you're up against so many incredible names in sim racing.
Should we have a look at the schedule, shall we? Just to have a, show people at home who maybe just tuned in exactly what we have got in store over the next couple of months. Of course, this is Shootout number 1. We've got Shootout number 2 coming up on the 2nd of February. So that will be Zandvoort. That'll be exactly the same format as we have right now. It'll be 2 heat races with the top 6 advancing through to the main championship. So that will be 24 drivers advancing in that way. And then there are 4 more spots available in the last chance qualifier, or heat 3, adding to the 4 that we're going to have today as well. So ultimately, that makes 32 drivers, 32 of the very best. So once we finish with our shootouts, we then head to round number 1, which is going to be the 8th of March at the Norisring. So that will be a format that will be indeed shown to you closer to the time. Again, we're not able to give out that information as of yet. We then head to round 2, which is going to be at the Nürburgring on the 15th of March. And the 22nd of March is going to be the Lausitzring. Then we head to the Sachsenring on the 5th of April, and then it's really quickly done then. It is just all weeks in a row. The 12th of April, it is the Red Bull Ring, and then it is the 19th of April, which will be the Hockenheimring. Very similar to the real DTM calendar. You kind of have loads of breaks for the first half of the season, and then once the summer breaks happened, it is just crazy, pretty much week after week. But yeah, it's that's 12 drivers through so far, Connery, and a very, very strong lineup of 12.
Yeah, an incredibly strong lineup, and we'll get another 4 from this last chance qualifier. The qualifying procedure for the actual grid is underway here at the moment. We're just getting ourselves into the server, so then we can see how the drivers are doing out there. But yeah, this has been a good event so far. So high hopes that our last chance qualifier will deliver the goods with 9 minutes quality.
Right, I'm going to give away some codes, guys. So I'm going to give one away on the RaceRoom YouTube channel. So if you're watching over on the RaceRoom YouTube channel, get ready right now, because I'm going to post a DTM 2023 code. Again, thank you to RaceRoom for giving us these codes. So make sure, and again, just before I type and enter, you may need to make sure you start the game, head to your profile, the driver profile on RaceRoom, and then you need to indeed locate your in-game wallet icon and click it. Then select the option to redeem a code, copy and paste the code, then confirm. It will add the content to your account. So there we go. It is really as simple as that. So good luck. We're going to give away one more code after that as well later on. And then we are going to give away one more code in my chat as well, Actrovision over on Twitch. So if you do not have DTM 2023, you can win yourself one there. And then the final 2 codes we'll give away after this final race. And they will be given away on the RaceRoom YouTube and on the DTM YouTube as well. So yeah, there we go. All that done, Connery. We're into qualifying.
Indeed we are, and we're seeing a couple of the first... Well, it is the first set of flying laps coming through onto the screen. So we got Oschersleben, who of course missed out in our first heat race of the evening going to provisional pole position. It's Leonard Krippner actually getting himself onto the front row of the starting grid just for the moment, but we got more than half the field yet to complete their first flying lap, so this will change and rather quickly here as we see Krippner head his way across the line to start another flying lap here. We've got further down the field, of course, we got Adam Pinches, we got the likes of Florian Hasse that haven't set a time just yet. So a lot of names yet to show themselves here. There's Pinches as he heads his way out of the final corner across the line. This is not a lap, I don't think, so he's going to start one around about now and go chasing for those qualifying positions.
Yeah, we've got Drosikov, who's just moved up into P6, and that would have been fine for the first two races, but unfortunately it's the top 4 now that go through. But right now you've got Oschersleben, you've got Krippner, you've got Romanidis, and you've got Kunze as your top 4 as it stands, that is some 4. If anyone else wants to go and get themselves involved in that top 4, fair play to you, but it's going to be very, very tough indeed.
Yep, it is. You know, it's as we see a little bit of a swap around there inside of that top 4. Julian Kunze there in P3, just 0.2 of a second behind Oschersleben here at the moment. And so Oschersleben putting in the great banker lap, shall we say. Of course, he's going to I'm going to get my words in the right order at some point. Of course, he's going to continue out there and keep trying to improve that lap time. That's basically that sort of makes sense in this situation. You never know that if that was actually the maximum that you're able to do out there. So you might as well keep yourself out there. And in fact, he's going to have to stay out there because he's just beaten to the punch. Because Krippner on his 2nd or 3rd lap of things has gone fastest.
Yep, he is a sensationally fast driver. Is Krippner, and actually I was not disappointed. I was maybe a little bit shocked that he wasn't a little bit further up the grid actually for the first attempt. But you know, you got a second attempt. Don't give drivers like that a second attempt. It really is as simple as that. So Krippner, Oschersleben, Hasse, and Kunze are your top 4 as it stands. We've actually got a message from Race Control in the RaceRoom YouTube chat. It was clear there was an incident in the last lap. We do not have the time for a full investigation. In this case, Race Control allows for both drivers involved in the incident to join. Wow, okay. Wow. So an extra spot was made available. Do you know what? I like that. Oh. I'm a big fan of that.
Ding, 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 round 2 between those two guys. Because, of course, they're going to be starting towards the back of the field. Well, not going to be starting. I've still got this qualifying structure in my head. Well, where are they at the moment? We've got, because it was the guys involved was, let's see if I can find them on here. Have they actually connected to the server? Gretschel was involved in it, for sure.
Yeah, Gretschel was involved in it.
Who's the other driver?
I'm just trying to remember now. Wasn't it Tiefenbacher?
Tiefenbacher. Yeah, it was Tiefenbacher.
No, it was Tiefenbacher and Gontier. Yeah. Gretschel was good. Gretschel was good. So it's Tiefenbacher and Gontier that had the contact with each other. And do you know what? Fair play. You know, and also I like the transparency as well of letting people know in the chat. And you know, I think that's fair enough. And I you know what? The people who were involved, they both would have been like, oh yeah, fair enough. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
None of them would have complained about it, and that's really who it's about. Krippner still up into P1 as it stands, 300s clear of Oschersleben. Hasse, Romanidis are your top 4. Kunze is in 5th position as it stands. And again, like I said earlier on, you know, you're someone like Kunze, you're outside that top 4. That means that the top 4 are absolutely flying. Ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's not as congested inside the top couple positions as we saw, especially in heat number 2, but it's still super, super close. We have 23 drivers within a second. Okay, so it's absolutely fantastic to see. This is what sort of top-level sim racing is like most of the time, where everyone can put in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of laps of practice, so they all get roughly near each other in terms of track knowledge. And then it's really the small things that differentiate between the drivers in the actual events. So yeah, it's great to see. And 37 thousandths of a second is the difference between Krippner and Oschersleben at the moment. Of course, that can and probably might change.
Yeah, we've got Blankenberg currently in 6th position as well. Andronovsky is in P7. Mikuleg is in 8th position as well, so top 8. Leonard Krippner across the line again. Is there any improvement on that time? No, it doesn't look like there is. 3 minutes left of this session. There's plenty of time for these drivers to find that extra bit of time. Ulas Oschersleben, still Florian Hasse and Romanidis. I say still Florian Hasse. Florian Hasse has actually wedged himself up into 3rd spot, hasn't he? So yeah, nice work.
He's done quite well. Of course, definitely no stranger to the top level here on RaceRoom. This time is not looking too great, though. Yes, he was personal best in Sector 1, however, dropped over 1/10 of a second in Sector 2. So unless it's a blistering Sector 3, it won't be an improvement. And so Florian Hasse there in 3rd place. So the top 3 covered by 600ths of a second.
Yeah, it's incredible.
A crazy stat.
And I will say one thing, RaceRoom and the top tier of esports drivers and sim racers, there are so many top tier sim racers because of the amount of competitions there are on this platform. So you should all definitely get yourself involved. A very affordable sim as well. It's a whole lot of fun. And for me, I'm gonna throw my hat out there. I think it's the best contact physics in sim racing way. You can really race on this sim.
It's definitely very forgiving in that department, which some people like, some people don't. But those are all personal opinions at the end of the day. But yeah, it is. You do have that confidence that you're not going to have a random weird contact incident when you're going side by side. So it's. I mean, it can and does happen. You know, I'm not saying it's infallible, but it's. That's just internet racing in general. There's going to be some form of netcode, but it's. Yeah, you know, it's different preferences, I suppose. But we see the qualifying. We're less than 1 minute and 20 seconds in this one. Kribner currently still leading the way. Is Oschersleben on a lap here at the moment? That's what I'm wondering. Doesn't look like in this situation, although it's quite hard to tell because the sector times don't always pop up on the overlays here. But Kribner, he's still in a very comfortable position either way, no matter how you look at it.
Yeah, 100%. You take P1, doesn't matter whether it's by 1,000th of a second or a couple of tenths of a second. If you're P1, you've done a good job, especially at this level. This is the highest level you will find in sim racing on RaceRoom. It is as simple as that. And you don't want to find yourself in this spot. You don't want to be in a last chance qualifier race. You don't want to be in Heat 3. But if you find yourself there, you've got to perform, which Kribner's done perfectly well. There's going to be some big names not making it through today. I think that's going to be the biggest takeaway from me. There's going to be some massive names not making it through. Still a few seconds to go in this session, but as it stands then, Kribner is going to be Azildarin's Kryptonite. He is P1, Azildarin P2, Hasse P3, Romanidis P4. I tell you what, didn't even write that line. It just came to me, that did. Unbelievable. We've got Kunze, who's outside the top 4. Andonovski is in 6th position. Blankenberg and Baldalf are in your top 8. And, you know, effectively, they all have to make some sort of move early in this race. Drov Ozakov is in 9th position. We've then got Mitchell, Buxi Hakkinen, Neg, Veit, Witvert, Pinches, Rosen, Ringer, and Martin as your top 19 guys. That makes it your top 20. Sunel, Gerhardt, then got Janssen, Stremar, Tiefenbacher, Pravy, Mackenberg, Fiedler, and then a few other drivers as well. I can't read that quickly, guys. There's 900 drivers to read out. But yeah. Leo Kribner, it was an astounding lap, and ultimately we'll start from pole position. Perfect spot.
Yeah, absolutely perfect. Just got to get that good launch and that, you know, lack of overlap in towards turn number 1 with the driver that starts P2, and ideally, in an ideal situation and a decently run race, you know, he should be relatively comfortable with regards to staying inside of that top 4 at least. But there's going to be some very, very hungry drivers in behind. That is for certain. So personally, I'm expecting a little bit more of a chaotic start than we've previously seen in those first 2 heats, due to the fact that this is the last chance, at least today, for these drivers to get themselves into the DTM eSports series for 2024. Of course, you're going to go all-out attack from the very start, and of course, you're trying to get inside that top 4 or close to it in the very early stages.
Yeah, 100%. You have just absolutely nailed it there. It is basically do or die. If you don't get that top 4, you are donezoed. You have to head to shootout number 2, and there's no guarantees you're going to get yourself a good position there either, as is the pace of this championship. So it comes down to this final race for today's shootout drivers. Only 4 positions available, 33 drivers all vying for those 4 spots. Expect it to get very fruity indeed. Formation lap about to start. Connery, final predictions.
It is very. I know I try a cop out of these answers all constantly, and not want to give a firm pick. But you know, given that it's a bit of a different circumstance, especially if that top four actually keeps themselves close together, we might end up getting a battle for the race lead under the right sort of circumstances, because drivers are just afraid of being too close to that guy in P5. However, I think Krippner does definitely have the edge here, but I think in terms of track position for sure. But Oschersleben, you can never count him out, especially in high pressure situations. That ability to try and go forward and try and be proactive in trying to take these positions will really work out for him.
Here we go then, we're about to see who goes through. 4 positions remain for the DTM eSports Pro Championship 2024, and well, it's 4 Ferraris at the front there, maybe even more, especially 7, as we head then down towards turn number 1, because we are green here for this 20-minute heat number 3. Krippner gets across there and actually decides to open up turn number 1, thus getting a really nice run through. Oschersleben going to hold on to P2, but look at this, the battle for that P3. This is not a good idea here, I don't think. Romanidis has actually made a move up the order. So Romanidis now up into P4. So he has made a move, looking to maybe make one more. Oh no, there's contact then a bit further back. Who was that? Was that Kunze? It was. Julian Kunze has just outbraked himself and driven across the bonnet of the car behind, and ultimately has opened up now a gap for the front 4. It's big, it's pandemonium here along the back straight. We find a car facing the wrong way, and there's a car now flipped over. That is not easy to do. I'm telling you now, that is not easy to do in sim racing, and I just hope he's not racing in VR.
Yeah, that is Adam Pinches on his roof, and we gotta say, that is, as you mentioned, Luke, that is pretty difficult to do in RaceRoom. We were talking about the contact physics earlier. You know, it's very, very forgiving, but but seeing a car on its roof like that, that is a bit of a strange one. And not something that we are used to seeing, but thankfully, you know, this is sim racing, this isn't the real world, so therefore, you know, no injuries can result in something like that unless you, I don't know, hurt yourself on your direct drive wheel or something, because those things can be rather strong. You know, it's all fine. And of course, we don't have any safety cars here either. Of course, that would have been a safety car in the real world as well. So, you know, there's some slight differences here, but that incident, I mean, we had a couple of incidents there on the start. I think my prediction of saying the start is going to be a bit more chaotic, I think has come true.
I'll tell you what, I'll tell you a little story. Dan Camish, who's a British touring car driver, you know who he is, Connery. He joined one of my racing leagues in RaceRoom, and in the first 30, I'd never seen it happen, and in the first 30 seconds in a touring car practice session, he rolled a car at the Red Bull Ring, and I'd never seen it before in RaceRoom, and I've not stopped laughing since, to be honest. So seeing a car roll is quite impressive. But yeah, Dan Camish, professional racing driver, managed to do it within 30 seconds of his first ever session. So yeah, incredible stuff. We're on board Hakkinen then a little bit further back here in 9th position, needing to make some moves in this race. Otherwise, you know, ultimately you're not going to get through. It's P5, isn't it? P5's really the position that's looking to charge up towards that 4th spot. And if there is a battle between 4th and 5th, that maybe, you know, opens the door for Andonovski. Currently in P6, it will slow them down. If you go side by side along a circuit such as Oschersleben, you are going to hemorrhage time. So right now, if you're in sort of P6, 7, 8, or 9, you need it to happen. And here is the battle for P4.
Yeah, Romanidis trying to hold on. He had a poor run through the final couple of corners, and now Christian Michael is going to be right on the back of him, heading down in towards turn number 1. Of course, that opportunity is a struggle into there, but you can see him, he's basically pushing him all the way through Hotel here at turn 2. That is a very, very eager German behind the wheel of a very German BMW.
And he's also made up the most positions out of anybody so far in a race today. 5 spots. We've seen 3, I think, a couple of times, but 5 spots. I thought he had an overlap down towards triple, but also Andonovski's getting involved here. So it's a BMW as the meat in a Ferrari sandwich as we come through triple. BMW just about holding it strong here. Mitchell, he's on the absolute charge here, and if he's going to make something happen, he is the driver to do so right now. Again, already 5 spots gained in this race.
Yeah, incredible hard charge through the fields, kind of flew in under our radar as well, and now he's just a couple of tenths of a second away from trying to promote himself up into a qualification spot for the DTM eSports Series 2024. That is incredible, and definitely not a name we wouldn't have, not a name we would be our first choice in getting that slot. I'll be honest here, like, and I'm sure he won't mind, but definitely not the first choice that we would have had. But now he's up against it. He's lost a bit of time through that final sector, and Adamowski is on the back.
Yeah, 100%. And Adamowski needs to be careful here, because if you do have an opportunity to make that move on Mitchell, then it's all about, you know, not losing too much time to the car in front, because that's not the key position. The key position is ahead of them right now. Romanidis, who for a moment looked like it might be all done and dusted, it might be over for him, has now got a bit of a gap to work with, about half a second to work with exactly. So Romanidis looking relatively good. The front two, by the way, separated by 0.2 of a second. As I said at the start of the broadcast, though, there's always one driver that surprises us, Connery. And right now, Christian Mitchell, or Michael, seems to be that driver.
Yeah, absolutely. He said started in 10th place, up to 5th. You know, it's great stuff from the German, and, well, at least his attack on Romanidis has been kept at bay for now, as he's dropped off the back a couple of tenths of a second. So he's going to have to try and work at reeling that gap back in now. A couple of bits of movement further back through the field. Adamowski is now coming under pressure from Colin Blankenberg, and Muski, the Hungarian in the BMW behind, is also on the outside of this one looking in. The two race leaders are also very close together. Krippner and Zilderim, 2.5 tenths of a second as they come up to the line.
Yeah, I wonder if we're going to see a battle between these two drivers right now. This might be a very interesting indeed. Zilderim. Oh, I tell you what, we've had a mistake here, have we not? No, Hakkonen's under pressure here as well. Some side-by-side action a bit further back. We're going to get a push through in towards turn number 2. There's definitely going to be some lean on. The doors open then up the inside for, I think, Drovoskov.
Yeah, Drovoskov's in there, yeah.
Yeah, he's also involved here as well. A bit of a fan favourite. Colin is also a bit of a fan favourite. He's involved in this. Blankenberg, we've seen that in the chat. We've got a couple of people in the chat also, EH Plus Sim Racing and HSV Boy, both outing themselves because they've rolled a car. That's not the flex you think it is, I'm afraid. You don't want to be rolling cars, it's not very fast. But yeah, fair play for getting involved in the chat, I do appreciate it. But Ilya from Ozikev, I have to say it so slowly now, otherwise I'm going to make a mess of it. Currently in 10th position, but a battle frantically was happening. But look what's happened, unfortunately. That means that they've lost touch with the battle for that final position to qualify through to our championship. And yeah, so sometimes it's worth being a bit more patient. But ultimately, if you're P10, you've absolutely got to send it.
Yeah, I mean, what else are you going to do? You're just going to sit there and lose? Like, that's not an option, right? So you're always going to have to push on forwards.
This is why you're here, Connery. You are the voice of reason. I am the voice of stupidity. You are the voice of reason.
I'm not going to argue that, even though I don't necessarily think it's true. I have said some unreasonable things before.
I'll tell you one thing. We've not had any bad rejoins today, Connery, so you know,
that's true.
You're all good. Yeah, Connery doesn't like bad rejoins. No one likes bad rejoins. Connery detests bad rejoins. Right, so we're here now on board with Ulas Ozilderim, the Turkish driver, in second spot, 0.3 of a second, separating him and Krippner. We just saw a battle very similar to this with Lucas Muller and Marco Pajic. Lucas Muller held on. Marco, did he really look to make a move? I don't think he probably did. Psychologically, do you try and make a move here? Or, you know, being the last chance qualifier, it's just about getting into that top 4. Don't worry about P1. What would you be doing here, Connery?
A driver's brain would be saying, just chill. A driver's heart will be try and go for that place and get the win. you know racing drivers, right?
Yeah, that's the trouble with top sim racers or racing drivers. You just can't turn them off. They don't have an off button. So yeah, it is a case of safely going through is what most normal people would do. Racing drivers don't tend to be that normal. As we see a bit of a mistake there from Krippner. And I tell you what, Ulas Ozilderim might be able to get a run down towards turn number 1. I think that's exactly what's going to happen here. We're on board then with Ulas, running down across the start-finish line. With just over halfway to go in this race. We're going to be forced to take the outside line if he wants to make something happen. Krippner, though, has recovered nicely. As we head then through turn number 2. Almost a bit of contact between the two of them. And all of a sudden, Florian Hasser's getting involved. This might be a three-way battle for the lead.
Yeah, which is totally something that we weren't expecting at this stage in this last chance qualifier. You know, we might have, you know, potentially had some circumstances that could lead to this, especially if P5 was remotely close to these guys. But no, they're more than 2 seconds back here at this point. So there's not much of a threat that these guys will drop back and have their top 4 come under threat. But either way, they're still going at it. They're still applying pressure to each other. It's the 3 Ferraris at the front, and actually, if you count Romanides, who's not part of the pack, it's 4 Ferraris from 1 to 4. You know, it's a great performance from them here at the moment, as we see a defensive move being made there at the back, kind of unnecessarily so, from Romanides towards the inside.
Yeah, 100%. He doesn't need to do too much work there. He's actually in a really nice position where he's got a buffer from the cars in front. If they make a mistake, he can avoid it. But he also isn't under too much pressure from behind. But he still needs to keep it on the straight and narrow. Still needs to keep it relatively quick. Otherwise, he'll be under some pressure. Front 3 separated by about 7/10 of a second. Krippner, Zilderim, Hasse, looking like they're going to get themselves the golden ticket through to the DTM eSports final rounds, or the main championship, as we like to call it. Again, this is Shootout 1. We've got Shootout 2 in 2 weeks' time, where we will indeed find another 16 drivers, making it a 32-driver grid for the DTM eSports Pro Championship. So we're heading round turn number 4, and right now Krippner is just about holding on, so doing a good enough job.
Yeah, he's you know, doing all that he needs to do. We've got just about half the race left to go, and I would, if he would, I mean, he would be hoping for a more relaxed affair. Let's just say that he would be hoping that he'd be like 3 seconds, 4 seconds ahead of the rest of the pack and just sort of cruising. But the fact is, he's not. So that puts a little bit of doubt in your mind. Just looking back at Zilderim, thinking, oh, is he going to go for the move? Is he actually really going to fight me for the race lead? Even though race wins don't matter at this stage in the competition, you know, it's that doubt sometimes that might put you off and then lead to a mistake.
Yeah, no, that is true. But Zilderim will just keep piling on that pressure. He'll still be driving within himself. But yeah, Krippner right now doesn't need to make any rash decisions. This will actually be quite nice. It'll get him nice and race sharp for the official championship. But, you know, we've not had this any of these races so far this year. This is the real first time to go up against your competitors that you're going to be racing against for the next 4 months, realistically. So this will be really, really nice. And you've got Hasse that I think he might like them to get involved with each other here and have a little bit of a ding-dong. Romanidis right now just wants them to just keep it nice and clean. Doesn't want anything to do with them right now. He's dealing with P5 Mitchell nicely. Got that lovely gap to work with. Does not want this front 3 to really slow down significantly enough where it becomes a bit of an issue where he slows down. But yeah, Krippner's doing a good enough job as we come through triple. Once again, we're on lap number 9. We've got 8 minutes left to go. We're over the halfway point. Come then through the sweeping right-hander, down in towards the chicane, onto the back straight. Zilderim 0.3 of a second behind, grabbing lots of curb there. Again, need to be a bit careful with that. Don't want to end up on your roof. We've seen that already once today. And then we've got Romanidis a bit further back behind Hasse. So that is your front 4 as it stands. Those are the final 4 positions available to qualify for the official championship of the DTM eSports Pro Championship in 2024. Everyone else in behind really is just hoping that there's some massive issues up front and they can get a freebie.
Yeah, I think that might be the case here for these mid-pack runners in particular. They might just be looking to have a little bit of fun as well. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of fun at this stage, trying to race with competitors that for some of those towards the back of the order may not have raced before, you know, in terms of the very high levels of competition. It's sometimes quite humbling for drivers, you know, that are used to in official races getting race wins, podiums constantly, to then come to a race like this and struggle to break the top 20. It's a humbling experience.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I used to say it all the time. I'm like, oh, yeah, well, you know, they can't qualify, so maybe they're just out there having a bit of fun. I can assure you, at home, ladies and gentlemen, that isn't the case. I've heard many a sim racer now, if they're not in a position where it's a positive outlook, they're not happy. They're not having fun, that's for sure. They've not got the music cranked up. They're just sat there pretty annoyed with themselves, to be honest. So we were here on board with Blankenberg. That was a big mistake up front there, wasn't it? Hakkinen. Hakkinen was running a little bit wide in the BMW. Porsche not able to get close enough to realistically make a move. Through the chicane we will come. He's now being stalked by a couple of Porsche, but the gap again is too big. P5 down to P6 is, what is it now? About 2.2 seconds. It's almost impossible here with 6 minutes, 20 seconds to go.
I have to wonder if there's any relation to Mika.
I don't know. That's a
we'll
good
have
point.
to ask her. We'll have to ask her after this one. If we get the
common
opportunity.
name, mind.
I mean, yeah,
like,
but
it's like the Jones of Finland.
Hakkinen's the Jones of Finland. There we go.
Yeah.
We'll have to ask any Finns if that is actually accurate in terms of common last names. But
I'm watching.
Yeah,
Any Finns out there?
For where I grew up, which was in Wales, it was Davis.
Of course.
It's a very common last name, and or Jones actually, funnily enough. But it's funny how those things happen.
Yeah, John Smith is the sort of common name in England. Any Finns out there watching? Let me know. Is Hakkinen like a really common second name in Finland? I think it is. So yeah, let me know.
Yeah, and actually, that's an interesting topic of discussion because we haven't got much action going on out there at the moment. What's the John Smith in your particular language? What's the most generic name in your language? We want to hear that in the chat.
Good point. That is a really good point. I reckon in France it's Florian Lebigre. I think that's like the most common name.
I'm trying to think of a serious answer to that, and I don't know enough French to to come up with one.
Jean-Pierre.
Jean-Pierre, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Oh my God. We should cut it with the accents. We're not good at them. Anyway,
no, definitely not.
Yeah, we still got a close run thing for the race league going on.
Yeah, we certainly do. I'll take over then, Connery, shall I? Yeah, we'll move on very swiftly. We're under the 5-minute mark now, so we've done 3/4 of this race, and as it stands, Whitford, by the way, should drop down as well. Yeah, he's dropping massively down, so I wonder if Whitford spun the car somewhere. He seems to have got going when, again, he's under a yellow flag, so I'm assuming he was facing the wrong way, or off into the gravel somewhere. But yeah, Leonard Krippner is still leading 0.2 of a second clear of Ulas Zilderim. I think if Ulas was going to make a move, he would have done it by now, so I think he's going to be happy. Stick it in P2. Job's a good one. We'll be in the championship. Lovely old job. Florian Hasselen is in third. Michael Romanidis, our first Greek driver to make it through. I think to start off the day, I would have put him in my list of drivers I thought would have qualified anyway. And then you've got Mitchell, who's been unbelievable in this race, actually. He's got 5 positions gained. He just needed one more. And unfortunately, it's just not going to happen, I don't think.
Yeah, 2 seconds behind now. It's a bit of an unsurmountable gap when we consider you got 4 minutes left. It was a brilliant opening, 3, 4, 5 laps for Christian Michael, and then it just kind of run out of steam a little bit as the front got themselves a little bit more organised. Meanwhile, Alpha P8 is still going on, it's still raging on. Hakkinen right on the back of Blankenberg now, and Dravosikov is also involved, the fan favourite in all of the stream chats that we have going here in the DTM eSports series shootouts. He's trying to make forward progress here, and definitely within a shot at least getting 1 place before the end of this race, depending on what happens.
Yeah, well, Blankenberg has managed to make his way all up the order from behind both of these, so he's had a very, very good race here, but just unfortunately a few positions a bit further back than where he needs to be. Apparently, Korhonen seems to be the most common name in Finland, so maybe not Hakkinen. Silva, I think that's probably Brazilian.
Yeah.
They're Portuguese. Silva is a very, very popular name in those parts of the world. Novak?
Jan Novak. I don't know what language that would be associated with. That's just showing.
Stuff up now, Murray.
Yeah, well, I'm just seeing names in the chats. Max Müller, I guess, is the German one, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I don't know. Wendy Wednesday? Not sure that's anything, to be honest there, Jesh. Yeah, throwing me off there a little bit there. Mario Rossi? That's definitely that's pretty good one for Italy. Yeah, that's pretty good. Oh,
it's all right, yeah.
Oh, the chat's not let us down. Love that.
Yeah, Korhonen is the most common surname in Finland. Yeah, so it's well, seems to be. I don't know if they weren't sure. So Leo Carton in the DTM chat, not certain that's that last name is the most popular in Finland. Maybe someone could Google it. We can't Google it. We're middle of watching. Well, meant to be watching a race.
Yeah, oh, sorry, there's a race happening, guys. 1 minute and 40 seconds left on the clock. 2 laps remain here of our first shootout. And Leonard Krippner is leading the way. It'll be a first race win for him, of course. Currently second then for Ulas Zilderim, currently in second spot. Of course, Hassa is in third, and then Romanidis comfortably in fourth position. All running in the same car as well. Looks like the Ferrari and the Porsche have been super, super strong today. Again, not bringing up a BOP conversation, not doing it, not happening, not enough time to go in this race. 1.5 laps remaining. On the DTM broadcast and indeed the RaceRoom chat on YouTube. So if you're in the DTM chat right now or the RaceRoom chat, I'm going to be giving away 1 more code each to both of those channels after this race. So Make sure you've got your race room open and you are quick with your copy and pastas, because I am going to be giving away one more code on each platform. So make sure you're watching on RaceRoom on YouTube. Make sure that you're watching on DTM on YouTube as well. And if you are watching, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Don't be tight. Subscribe.
Shout louder.
It's
they
free.
might subscribe more.
Yeah, it's free. It's free to subscribe on YouTube. Don't be tight.
But this race day battle, it's getting within 0.3 of a second pretty consistently here. I think if Oschersleben wants to go for a last-minute dive here on the final lap, he might be justified in doing so, right? Just to give us a bit of entertainment, and hopefully, I mean, you always run the risk of an incident like that, but you know, you have to live a life on the edge sometimes, don't you?
I think 12 months ago, Oschersleben would have sent it multiple times. I just think he's just matured as a driver. You know, realising he doesn't need to. Yeah, of course, we want to see it. We want to see these drivers give us the maximum entertainment. But ultimately, they are looking to be a part of the main championship. And that is the only goal today. P1 is as good as P4. Just get yourself in that hat and you move on. So we saw that in the first few races where it's top 6 that went through and no one really kind of made any moves apart from the first lap where everyone was shuffling up and down the pack because naturally that's how it works, you 2 by 2. Yeah, at this stage of the race, I'm not sure we're going to see anything. We've got a few corners to go. Leonard Kripner did take pole position, nearly a couple of corners away from booking his ticket to the DTM eSports Pro Championship 2024. A couple of right-handers away, one more corner away, and Leonard Kripner is going to negotiate that perfectly in the Verstappen.com livery in the Ferrari. And at number 69 is going to be Leonard Kripner. Oh, no, I think he just lost it on the line. That is going to be close. They're exactly the same time there. God. I think Kripner might have just got it. But Oschersleben nearly snuck it there. So I'm wondering whether he's trying to get, a nice photo for the two of them for their mantelpiece. I don't know. But ultimately, it doesn't matter. P1 means the same as P4. Kripner, Oschersleben, Hasse, and Romanidis are going to be your 4 qualified drivers. But that was very peculiar there from Kripner.
Yeah, the official order is 0.00, and we don't have enough granularity to tell. So we'll see on the actual official race results there. But yeah, it was almost a bit of a weird one between the two of them there, as the rest of the runners are just about heading their way across the line. We're waiting for Ronald Sen, who's 1 lap down here at the moment, but. Yeah, it's a comfortable event for the top 4, at least in the second half of the race. The first half of the race was much more chaotic, and I think if you're even if you're in the top 4, you weren't entirely safe. No,
that's true. So the only thing I could think of is that he may have got a slowdown around the final corner, and it's been perfect in terms of he's managed to get across the line and get rid of the slowdown. Because if he hasn't, it could be a big penalty. No, he's got away with it there. So Oschersleben does get the fastest lap. The race winner is Kripner. If he didn't slow down enough there, he would have had a big penalty that would have taken him out of top 4. So, yeah, if he didn't get a slowdown, he's managed that pretty well. Because there's not a lot of time to obviously get rid of your slowdown. But Kripner does take the race win just about. It's by, what, 1,000th, or 100th of a second in the end?
14 thousandths.
14 thousandths, there we go. Hasse P3, Romanidis P4, that is your top 4. And they've got Mitchell, Andonovsky, Buxi, Blankenberg, Hakkinen, Drov, Ozekov, Neg, Peringer. You've then got Rosen, Martin, Sunel, Tiefenbacher, Witvert, Reivi, Stremer, Gerhard. I'm not going to finish here, am I? Mackenberg, Arella, Schranko, Gretschel, Janssen, and a few other drivers. I'm just never going to do it. I am never going to manage to get all of those names out, Connery. Oh God, that was good. That was good. We've got 16 phenomenally talented drivers to make up our first half of the grid for our major championship coming up over the next couple of months. Oh, what stood out for you, mate?
I think the cerebral nature that the drivers brought to the race. You know, it wasn't immediately chaotic, and you would even if they were, you would be able to understand it, right? Because it's a track that's difficult at overtaking. You're going to take every single chance you get. If the door's slightly ajar, you're going to stick your nose in. But we didn't really see that. It was a very sensible race from pretty much everyone involved, which can be very, very surprising considering, you know, how much is on the line. We'll have to see whether or not that changes as we head into the second shootout, which will be at Zandvoort, which is a bit of a different issue when it comes to overtaking. But yeah, it's a surprisingly calm, I think, is the overall takeaway I would say about this shootout.
Yeah, 100%. I wonder if we can have it. Yeah, we can. We can drag Leonard into the chat here then, and we can have a little interview with him. Of course, we've had Heat 1, Heat 2, and then we had Heat 3, which I'm calling the last chance qualifier. Leonard Kripner, we saw you last time out in the DTM eSports Championship. You've just booked your ticket into the official series for 2024. I bet you're feeling pretty good, aren't you?
Yeah, first of all, good evening. Yeah, went all to plan, I guess. Really glad to not have to go through Shootout 2 because we've seen with all the disconnects that a lot of stuff can go wrong. So yeah, I was really happy to get pole position and then really just, I think, shout out to Ulash at this point. I think he was also, yeah, not pushing too hard, just making sure we both make it through and not taking any risks. I actually had to slow down at the end because of a slowdown penalty, but yeah, still got the race win, so really glad about that.
Well, that was an important point though, because we were thinking, oh, are you just slowing down just to celebrate or whatever? But that was an actual slowdown penalty, and you almost lost the race win because of that through the final corner. How high was your heart rate there? You're going, oh my god, I'm gonna bottle this at the very last moment. Yes, I'm safe in terms of getting myself into the next stage of the championship, but even then, that wouldn't necessarily been a guarantee if you didn't clear the slowdown penalty by the time you got to the line, because you would have gotten an additional penalty then.
Yeah, exactly. So my heart skipped a beat, if I'm completely honest. So yeah, but in the end, I think it was 200ths of a second in front of Ulash, so also secured the win. Really glad about that. Shout out to my mate Lucas, whose birthday party I'm planning to visit in a bit, and also shout out to my mom, who is not feeling too well at the moment, and she's probably listening. So yeah, she's probably happy to hear me in a victory interview, anyways.
That's awesome, mate. Very humble of you there as well. And well, do you know what? I'm going to let you just head off to the party then. Go and grab yourself a couple of beers and have a good weekend.
I'm mindful of you, Luke. Thank you very much. Thank you, boys. Have a good evening, everybody.
There you go. Off to celebrate with Lucas for his birthday as well. That's going to be a fun time for sure. And well, it is a German championship. It's heritage from Germany, and we've had 3 German winners. Connery, is there anybody out there that can stop them?
Well, we'll have to wait and see, because we won't see these guys now until the main season. So we'll get the second shootouts, and well, we won't see the top guys until the main season. But we'll get the second shootout underway in a couple of weeks when we head to Zandvoort, and we'll get another set of drivers getting themselves their slot in the main season. And then, of course, during the start of March, when we get our first proper round of the season at the Norisring, we'll have a full complement of drivers, and we'll see where everyone stacks up against each other.
Well, let's check out the calendar for the rest of the season. And of course, we have got 16 drivers already now. Tickets booked, they're in the championship, but we will have 16 more spots available in shootout number 2. That's going to be at Zandvoort on the 2nd of February. Once we get those 16 drivers, that will make 32. Then we will head to round 1, which will be the Norisring. Round 2 will be on the 15th of March at the Nürburgring. Round 3 on the 22nd of March will be the Lausitzring. And then we head into April. The 5th of April will be the Sachsenring. We then head to round number 5, which will be on the 12th of April at the Red Bull Ring. And then to finish off the season, it is indeed going to be the Hockenheimring on the 19th of April. So there you go. That is the calendar for the season. I'm going to be giving away 2 more DTM 2023 car packs on YouTube, on the RaceRoom YouTube, and indeed the DTM YouTube as soon as this broadcast is done. Connery, any final thoughts?
Well, there were so many drivers that deserved to get through at this stage of the competition and didn't. Of course, they will get an opportunity to be able to qualify via Shootout 2. And you at home could try, because the leaderboards are, of course, open now for the second shootout. So if you want to have a go, try and get inside the top grouping of drivers, and you might be able to come onto the broadcast and try and show your stuff and try and get in, right?
Exactly that. I'm not going to try, to be honest. I don't think I've quite got the pace. But,
I like to see you commentate at the same time.
Yeah, right. I can barely commentate when that's anything I've got to do. But yeah, that is it from me and Connery. We're going to see you next time out in the shootout number 2, which is going to be heading to Zandvoort. I'm sure we're going to see lots of Verstappen.com liveries at Zandvoort as well, because it tends to be the case. But yeah, hopefully we'll see you then. DTM is back, baby. 3 German winners, 16 drivers making it through to the next stages. We'll catch you next time in 2 weeks' time.